Welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us. 5 on It Live begins in 10 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 9 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 8 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 7 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 6 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 5 on it live. Minutes. Five on It Live begins in 4 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 3 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 2 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 1 minute.
Oh.
We are back. Welcome
We're
back,
back,
Saturday
baby.
night.
Come
And here we are, 5 on it, live, back at ya. 5 on it live.
5 on 11. Coming live to you from Austin, baby. Just
Austin,
explaining
Texas.
that intro. Well, not all of us, but
Yeah,
myself and producer Chris.
unfortunately, I'm still here in absolutely hot as hell LA. It's been like 106 degrees. And then you and Chris and the rest of the fam, you guys are chilling out in Austin,
It's
Texas.
pretty hot here too.
Okay, well then I'm
But no, I
good.
think it's hot. It's fine. We're both hot. Uh, how you doing tonight, Greg? It's
I
been
just
really
I
hot.
just yeah, I just feel miserably hot. It
Yeah.
was like 113 degrees in the valley yesterday, which is like I watched a lot of movies that were based in California. That feels really good for me to say. Like it was really hot in the valley yesterday.
Oh.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at. Just miserable and hot. How's Austin, Texas? What are you doing in Austin, Texas?
Well, you know me, I like to bop around.
Yeah.
I've got one of my now 2 of my favorite people here, producer Chris being one of them, but, I have another person who's one of my best friends, shout out Joe. He's here, he's family, I haven't seen him in a few years. I don't know, I don't like to stay in one place for too long. Just got here yesterday. Um Learning out how to do this remote, traveling with all the shit.
Yeah. It's not a carry-on anymore, right?
It is not just a carry-on anymore, but it's kind of fun. I don't know, it's kind of fun to, like, go through with my little carry-on with all my mics and everything. Feels pretty
Have you
professional.
been stopped in the airport yet for, like, being a spy? I do you think that people think you're a spy?
You know what? I hope so. I hope so. Um, I haven't been asked. They never even open. I just have to take sometimes I kinda, like, wish they would ask so I could be like, "Oh, I have a show." But
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
haven't been
yeah.
asked.
I have been telling people, like, that I work with and stuff, like, "Oh, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it on Saturday. I do a show now."
I do a show
And
now. Yeah.
yeah. It does feel pretty good.
Oh my god, speaking of shows, you know
Yes.
what producer Chris let me know today, given that I'm in Austin, and I've been
Uh-huh.
here lots of times in the past, but not for a few years, and this is the season for, where you could see the bats for the Bat Festival, Bat Fest, and for
Bad
those
fest.
who frickin' bats.
Okay, yeah, freaking bats. Bats
Frickin'
really bind us. So wait, a bat fest. Why is
Uh-huh.
Austin particularly batty?
Well, they like to keep it weird here.
Yeah? I guess is that what I thought that was Portland, Oregon.
No, I think that's Austin's, like, claim. I might also be Portland, Oregon, but yeah,
Oh.
that's Austin's keep it weird.
Do you think they have weird city like, weird little city wars, like,
Oh,
"We're weirder."
probably, probably. That makes me kinda embarrassed for everybody. Um, but so in Austin under the, like, Congress Bridge, which is, like, one of the main bridges that connects downtown to
Okay.
the rest of Austin, bats, um, live there and then come out in the evening at like dusk, and people come in from all over and hang out on the bridge, or sit on the banks of the river and watch the bats do their thing. And so um today, apparently just before our show started, um but around in the festival, they have like a stage with performers, musical performances, and the food trucks and all that kind of stuff. And
Sure.
today, just before our show,
Yes.
the hip hop group Loonies, uh of Five on It fame, were playing.
Wait. What? 5 on it fame?
Oh yeah, the song Five on It.
I've never heard that song.
We might have to have a conversation after this about that. Yeah, that's cool. Anyways, I thought you might find that interesting, but I guess not. I guess it has nothing to do
Wait,
with anything.
are we named after a song?
No. Nah.
Okay.
Us?
Wait.
Nah.
And I feel like that might answer questions forever. There it is.
Was that a good bit?
That was a very good bit. Also, I don't know if you noticed this little like jingling thing. We had a little logo bug down in the right hand corner, and we've got a new one, and it's actually like the spinning globe at night. And we've also been doing these notations for midnight, right? So I felt like, so what we've put together, instead of obstructing and doing anything differently, now when it turns midnight, and I want you guys to all kind of be in on this, and maybe we can make a game out of it. But whenever it turns midnight, that's when that thing is going to ring. So when it's midnight in your time zone, we're going to have like a little buzzer down here.
And celebrate in the chat.
Yeah, celebrate in the
Or
chat.
celebrate by calling us in.
What should we do? I don't drink, so I don't want to make a drinking game out of it.
Nah.
And also, I feel like drinking is like totally played out.
I mean,
But
I like it, but yeah, I don't want to. It's drinking games are
yeah, so I'm wondering like what kind of game can we all play with each other wherever we see? Oh, hey, PlayJoe.
Oh, fucking shit. Hi.
boy.
Hey, feeling
PlayJoe.
good. Feeling right. It's a Saturday night. That's right.
You know what? I really love your energy tonight.
Yeah.
It's excitable.
Hey.
I got to
thank
be
you.
honest with you, PlayJoe. I got a little bit of feedback last night about your character, and people were confused. Like, who are you? What are you, and what exactly are you doing here? And I thought, I don't know how to answer that because I don't even know you. So maybe you might be able to let the audience in on who you are and why you're here.
Well, one thing that I'm looking forward to revealing tonight to the one or two people that asked that very question, what the heck is PlayJoe doing around here?
Yeah.
That I may just go ahead and show you my real face later.
Oh.
And because I mean, it's kind of like a kiss unmasked, but you've known me like a week, so whatever. You love me already.
Okay.
What's going to happen is that I'm going to reveal to you right now that I am a part of the next band. I'm a. Can anyone give me a hint of who we talking about here?
Very exciting. Well, for all of the listeners at home, we do have a very exciting guest. A special music performance by Bacon Shoe, which that in and of itself, I don't know why those two worlds exist together, bacons and shoes. So I presume that
I mean,
will.
and PlayJoe now too. I mean, lots
So
on.
yeah, there's a lot of confusing things. You haven't necessarily helped with the query, but either way, how have you
Given
been?
us more to think about.
Yeah, you've given us more to think
Yes.
about. How have you been? And you know,
I'm good. I'm actually in the bathroom of Chuck E. Cheese, and it's after hours.
Okay.
I
cool.
boy,
I hid away in one of the animatronics, and I stood there, and
Mallory,
I waited for everyone to leave,
I
and
know that
then
you're Canadian, but let me just tell you, as a good
yes,
Midwestern American boy,
also Canada.
that there aren't too many things that are as fun as a Chuck E. Cheese bathroom after hours.
I mean, I
I've
wouldn't know
gotten
about
into a
the
lot
after
of mess.
hours, but I have spent a birthday at Chuck E. Cheese when I was like 5 or
Oh,
6. We did
really?
have them in Canada too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Feels less special now.
So Oh.
Aw. Oh,
Hey, everybody at home, you know the deal. This is a call-in talk show, and you
Yeah.
are our very special guest. You're the only thing that we care about. You're the only thing that we want to know about. So why don't you give us a call? 712-345 on it. I like to sing a little song. 712-345
I've
on it.
done it.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks.
Oh.
that
Oh,
was
PlayJoe,
sweet.
that was really lovely.
I'm a
For those who
loner, so it's nice to be, talking to
Oh.
people for once, you know?
Oh, that's nice. I
Yeah.
just wanna include
Oh,
the numerical thing for those who
please,
don't like
please.
translating. It's
Yeah,
also
please do.
712-345-6648.
6648. And for all
Whoa,
of those
look at
Canadians
that.
that have been trying to call in and it's
Yeah.
a tolled number, we didn't think about that. But we're coming up with a
We're
solution.
so
So
sorry.
there's a solution in the pipeline. We want to hear from all of our Canadian listeners. We want to hear from our Mexican listeners, Costa Rican, anybody around our time zones that's listening to us throughout the night. Thank you, PlayJoe.
Or the rest of the world, but yeah,
Yeah, or
given
the rest of the world,
yeah,
but, we wanna
yeah,
give you the best way to get a
mhm.
hold of us, but
Damn!
yeah. So 712-345 on it. Give us a call right now, and in the meantime, Chris, we're gonna go to a commercial, and I would please leave that number up, and, when we come back, hopefully, we'll have a caller. If not, I'll turn you on.
Okay.
What if man had turned out differently? Then where would he wear Levi's stay press slacks or Levi's fashion jeans? Would he put Levi's herringbone on his fins? Levi's stripes on his wings? How could he enjoy Levi's flares with Dacron polyester? What would he put in the pockets of our stay press bush jeans? What would he do with Levi's hop sack? Come to think of it, if man had turned out differently, would there even be a Levi's? There would have been no 1850 gold rush, no man named Levi Strauss, no need for him to invent the world's toughest pair of pants. Men, we're glad you walk on two legs. Otherwise, you'd never get the chance to wear a pair of Levi's.
You know what really makes us mad is wasting money on CDs with only one or two good songs.
Yeah. Tell them about punk.
Yeah, we got this CD called Punk that's loaded with our favorite tunes, man.
Yeah.
Just listen. This Punk CD has 36 tunes, man, and I'm telling you, they're all great.
Yeah.
You also get Huey Lewis in the news. Romantics. And the Fix. You can only get this CD by calling this 800 number, man.
Yeah.
So call now. You can get all all 36 of these great songs on 2 CDs for only $26.95.
Or 2 cassette tapes for just $21.95.
Here's how to order.
To order Punk, call the number on your screen or send $26.95 for 2 CDs or $21.95 for 2 cassettes plus $4.95 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. Rush delivery is available. Remember, this special offer is not sold in stores.
And welcome back. Oh, that transition was lovely. A little behind the scenes stuff. And as you know, we're growing with you here at 5 on It Live. By the way, Mallory, when I was listening to that infomercial that we found, so I remember like watching that at night, like a million times, you know what I mean? Because it was on every night and was on a million times in the night. Those like just the snippets of those songs in the order that they are, like that's how I know the song. I know Wild Wild West going into Erasure. You know what I mean?
That is such a good point. Like it's like a collage of a song. And when you grow up, especially if you are a bit of an insomniac, which sounds like you were as well.
Yeah.
That's when you get to watch all of the best infomercials where, they just like cut together all of these songs. And then it's like it becomes one big song. Like all of these small parts become like one big song.
And I'm notorious. Anybody that's ever shopped with me in a grocery store at night, I'm notorious for like singing every single song that comes on the radio. Maybe I do that at a restaurant too or something. Yeah. I'm a real sucker for pop music inside of public places.
Oh, I love that. Oh, can we get into that?
It's just who I am.
I mean, it checks out, but that's also just a vibe.
Pop music resonates particularly in public arenas. That's what please, if you agree, if you have an opinion on that, call in. If you're from Austin, Texas, call in. If you're from Portland, Oregon, and you think that you're weirder, call in.
Battle of the Weird.
Yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, I like to sing in public, and what I was getting at was that often I'll be singing one of these songs, and I'll be singing it in this collaged version that's in my mind. It's just isn't it funny how memory works and how these things, maybe even in particular, I don't know. What do you think about the like listening to tapes or listening to a speaker in your earphones when you're asleep and it like embeds it into your mind? Have you ever done anything like that?
I fall asleep watching or listening to things always. So
do I. But in particular, because I was once living with somebody who did that, who and that's a weird story, but they were listening to like a motivational speaker or something like that to help them be a better person.
Like, sort of
like therapy,
right? Like no, I've never done that. I mean, I have used some I think like meditative sounds, like soundscapes to help me fall asleep,
but not like message
but not
messages.
Which I feel like I've only seen those in like or heard of those in TV shows or movies, like I feel like there's like a Friends episode when Chandler listens to a tape to fall asleep to quit smoking, but it's like a woman empowerment thing. I'm talking about I don't remember.
Is the science behind that even true?
I don't know, but
because the point is that I have these infomercials that were playing all night, embedded in my mind.
Right.
I don't necessarily like have a memory of the infomercial, but all of the content and particularly the audio is inside of my memory. Somebody out there has to be able to identify with this. Actually, I'd really like to get to the bottom of that particular point. And in the meantime, Mallory, I'll tell you the story that I just sparked in my mind about when so I was living with this person, and it was my girlfriend, and they would listen to motivational tapes in their headphones while they were asleep, right? No big deal. Okay, does it make it weirder if the motivational speaker is their father? Right.
Uh, infinitely.
Right? Okay. What if I told you that he was like like a millionaire or like some sort of investment guy guru, right? That then was like, money is bad, but I'll live in my big house and use my home office to create tapes that I sell to people at conventions to help them be a better person as I think he called it a life coach. Okay, I'm just giving you context.
Okay.
Okay, now the first time I met this man was when when I went to their house to stay for Hanukkah. Okay, and it was a lovely time. And it was like one of the nights we were drinking wine, sitting by a fireplace with him, and it's like family-ish, wintry vibes. And and he says, Craig, let me hypnotize you.
Oh no.
And I say, what? No, no. And he says, mind you, I'm like 22. Okay. So,
Can I just pause you for a
please.
sec?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Was this out of nowhere? Were you talking about something particular? Like, was there going to be a point to
Might have been
hypnosis?
talking about his work, might have been talking about like how much he's been helping people and how
Or was there something that he was going to help you with specifically?
It's possible that I could have revealed something and
Okay.
that he was like, being a pal and I was being receptive. And
Okay.
then I don't really remember the benefit, but let's just give him the benefit of the doubt
Sure.
and say that there was some sort of context that he was helping me out
Responding to, and yeah.
and he
Yeah.
furthered it by asking to hypnotize me. And okay, so context,
Yeah.
check. It's my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
It's her father for the
Mm-hmm.
holidays that
Mm-hmm.
I'm meeting for the first time. And I don't want to be insulting to his work, but also, okay, so I can explain this within the story. So I say no, and he says, come on, right? And I say, no, no. And then my girlfriend and him both are like, come on, come
Oh.
on,
Oh.
right? So the first thing that happens in my head is like, just do it. But then I think there's no way that I am not too stubborn for this to work. If this is something somebody could do under this like stress situation, it ain't me, babe. You're not going to be able to put me under.
Yeah.
But let's just say that you do. I got some darkness inside of me that I don't want to come out to my girlfriend's dad on the first introduction. Like I
Fair.
don't care
You know
how
what,
fucking
Craig?
hip you are. I don't
Fair.
care how great of friends we might be in the future. There's no fucking way I'm ready to face those with you or anybody else on a holiday night, right?
Yeah.
So I tried to explain that. And I am like browbeaten into this situation. And obviously, like, all right, cut the shit. I'm not doing this.
Okay.
Now it's uncomfortable, and I'm gonna make it more uncomfortable the more it goes on. And that led to like a steady decline of this relationship that I was in, I believe. And yeah, very, very weird shit. Very, very weird shit. What do you
Wow.
think about that?
Well, I mean, I just immediately it sounded like you were retelling the beginning of the movie Get Out without any black people.
Whoa, for
So that's
real. For real. It was like guru metaphysic, Jewish Kabbalah fucking Get Out. That's what it was. That's what it was. It was like that. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that that's why he brought me in, because also I was Jewish. I was celebrating. He
Yeah.
felt like I was going to be so open to like the whole thing. We're doing like, the Hanukkah stuff. We feel like, and I like that. I like that about my culture. It's like, you feel like there's something that binds you that is different than just familial or friendly or something like that. But then it becomes, this is something that we used last episode, it becomes weaponized. It becomes like you're weaponizing this vulnerability that I'm allowing.
Well, and especially through like something like hypnotism, which, as you were alluding to, it could be a deeply revealing thing that, maybe you don't want to do with your girlfriend's parents
Bro,
over the holidays.
it's wild that
Yeah.
and shouldn't a good therapist or life coach be able to understand that that's kind of
Not the
that's
place or time. Not
yeah,
the
like you
place
should
or
be more
time.
respectful for the art or something,
I think that's a really good point.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's uh a lot of therapists and practitioners out there who aren't doing it so mindfully and what I would think of as ethically. And yeah, for me, like doing it in a family context, your kid's partner over the holidays, like let me go down the list of reasons why like that ain't the context, and why
Right.
like if how are you supposed to trust that practitioner if this is the context that they are trying to present it to you in?
And it leads to questions like what type of results or like thing do you think that you're unlocking in somebody? Because if you're not like you know what I'm saying? If this is just a game for you to do with like also we were drinking. Maybe
Oh,
not
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot,
again,
but
yeah, add that to
like
the list of
come
things
on.
that are, real off, in him suggesting it in this context. Um,
I don't think that
it
you
feels
can
like a bit of a
sue.
power move too.
Well, yeah, obviously, like well, let's like reverse engineer this, right? Like
Okay.
somebody who is a guru metaphysics wizard, but also was like an investment guru, like
Oh, yeah, right, I
come on, like
the context that you
you are
started with
obviously
then.
of the most
Yeah.
self-absorbed people in the entire
Yeah.
world, and I'm talking to you, Bitcoiners.
Mm,
Anyway, just
fair,
call me. Let's hash it
fair.
out. Let's hash it out. I can
Fair.
be swayed with a couple of big. No, anyway.
Right.
Uh,
Well,
um,
that is a wild story, Craig. Do you think that if you had gone under hypnosis, maybe your brain would have worked so hard that all that would have come out is you singing these infomercials? Maybe that's like in the deepest recesses of your brain.
here's the thing: is that I swear to God, I have no idea what would have come out.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I was very young. I was in New York. Like I think that the thing that I was fearing most was like dropping a dime on myself in a way. You know what I mean? Like me and your daughter have sex or something. Like
Yeah.
that sounded seemed
Right,
so
right,
controversial to me,
right,
and so and
right.
I was still not a formed individual even.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another. Let's make another bullet point.
Great.
I'm barely not 18. I get it. I'm living on my own, but like, are
You're a
you kidding
baby
me?
still.
I'm a baby
Yeah,
still.
still a baby. Like, yeah, your brain is still forming. Mhm.
When was the last time you spoke with
Wow.
a 21-year-old?
Um, 21-year-old. Oh, I don't know.
I wonder how 21-year-olds are doing now.
What's funny, I was just like, "Oh, I must have recently," but that's just because I'm extremely on TikTok, but I don't talk to them. But I feel like I'm like I see the 21-year-olds a lot, but I don't think I have any in my life personally. I mean, I have younger cousins and stuff, but none that I, yeah, talk to regularly. How about you?
I can't think of a single.
Do
Maybe
they
at my
exist? Do 21-year-olds exist?
I doubtful.
Hey, if you're 21, call
Yeah,
in.
yeah, if you're 21 and there's things going on that I just apparently am not seeing, call in and let us know. I did have maybe I'm a narcissist or egocentric or something because
How did we get there?
I had a roommate for a while, and they were my roommate for like a year, and I was cooking or something like that, and they said something about their age, and they were like, I'm 23. I'll be turning 24 next week. And I was like, wait, what? You're 24? You're 23 years old? And she was like, how old did you think I was? And I was like, I thought you were 43 or something, like my and she was like, huh? And then I looked at her and I was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah. Like you go to college and you've been doing an internship and like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. But literally, I
Oh, the
just
clues were all there.
what I'm saying is that no matter what the information is, I just assume everybody is my peer. Maybe I think I'm 20. I mean, I don't ever think about the numbers. You know what I mean? That sounds dangerous when it's said out of context.
I mean, you pointing that out, I don't want to walk it back. It's good for you to point out. But yeah, no, I feel like I understand what you mean. I feel like this, oh God, it sounds so old. This day and age, I do feel like it, older people are looking younger people looking older. It is, I feel, a bit harder to discern. But I don't know. It sounds like there were some pretty big hints for you, like, stage of life things
Yeah,
like
well, I guess
college.
the point of that is that at least you know what I'm just realizing. Actually, I think that never mind. I think that I also this 21-year-old that I was just referring to, or 24-year-old,
Mhm.
they were like perfectly adult as far. Wait, maybe I'm not a good judge of that either.
Well, that one I will
Yeah,
leave open.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
Anyway,
who's a good judge? Well, I think some people
you've been a relatively good judge, I would say.
I yeah, I think I am. But yeah, I mean, that is like I've people in their mid-20s. I don't know, do you remember being in your mid-20s? The
Yeah, I
how
feel like
much
I'm still in my mid-20s.
well,
I'm certainly depressed every time I look at my ID. I think
oh,
the whole world is in front of me.
wait, what do you mean?
Right. I thought the whole world was in front of me, and I keep on being reminded
Uh,
every day that it's not. But actually,
it is still, Craig. It is.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What do you guys have to say about this? And when I say you, I mean you at home. I know
Yeah.
you're listening.
You. Yeah,
I,
you.
this whole dance was for you. This whole party was for you. We hung banners, we made signs and
We made
logos,
signs and
and
logos.
and all we're asking you to do is call and talk to us about anything, about literally anything.
One day I will really get it down. The first time I point,
I know.
it'll
I
be
know.
perfect.
I know.
One day. It's
I
really
know.
hard. Oh yeah, you know what'll happen when you call?
What
You
what is
get
that?
you get to talk to our operator, Pippa. You get in the Pippa zone.
Yeah, the Pippa Zone is a pretty fantastic place. Pippa is one of those people that we've met in through our online communities, and like a heart, like I don't know, like motherly. The reason why I thought so hard is that I don't want that to sound insulting in any type of way, but it's like a motherly tone to the voice, a motherly vibe, and in fact,
If anybody could hypnotize me, I feel like Pippa could. You know who I would trust to be an ethical hypnotist therapist? It's Pippa. Pippa would not try and hypnotize you over a holiday when you're 18 after some wine.
I can't imagine
That's
that.
the kind of energy that Pippa gives. I trust her. She's just a joy. That's why we call it the Pippa zone. You want to be in the Pippa zone.
Speaking of motherly, and Chris, I hope you're reading my mind here. I found a very unique animation. As everybody knows that's been tuning in, we play some animations, and I found this beautiful little animation that honestly it gave me that same feeling. It was like a very motherly type of feeling at the end. So while you guys are calling in and while we're setting up that call, take a peek at this. And now, Bacon Chew.
I was born in the backseat, riding down to the freak beach to snort some drugs with the football team. Say, pass me another drink. You're the kind of girl I like to meet. I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. In my past life, I brush my teeth with a knife. At midnight, I fly a skeleton kite. My lips get huge when I'm near you. I think I fear food. My skin cleaves and it's rude. Scary face and fire bellies. Don't touch it, it has AIDS and it's awake. When the blood drips down to the toe, werewolf jumps in the front window. Scarecrow doing blow in his robe. Miniature dildo snow globe. Don't put raw beef in your nose. Don't drink beam with a garden hose. Make sure both holes are closed. If you did, that's all you can do, I suppose. Never try to wear a dead man's clothes. Ice Cube drinks iced tea through his nose. I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Oh, so what's so different now? The cocaine nose, the cocaine brow. Don't you think you've gone off the deep? I think that you just need some sleep. And then the moon turns pink. My eyebrows fall from my face to the sink. My nipples leak. Take a drink. It's nutritious. It'll put arms on your feet. Trick or treat all week. And if you don't dress up, then you're dead meat. I don't care, I eat hair because I'm dead. Nightmare calf in the cornbread. Wake up, I can't wake now, I'm a snake. Now I'm not Halloween Bloodclot. I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready to go. Break it down like this. I'm ready. Me too. Trouble Ranch. Oh no. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Wet nanny. Wet nanny. I didn't even do it. I didn't do nothing. No. I just bottle and fuck. That's why I hide the horse. Change his hooves because they're rough and coarse, but same thing. A tiny pink mane you bring, it gets lopped off, falls down into the deep. It ain't shit, so that's why you plunge your dick 2 times. And also cause the tip of it shines like old teeth. And Grandma Nanny's jingle shit wreath. Reach into your trunk and grab a 12-pack of beef. I don't care if you don't like bottom of the sink type beats like these in your tailpipe, cause it just won't stop, even if you fuck your way to the top and you jump off. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Let me tell you something. I don't like small teeth, cause they can't crush the stump. Chew the Band-Aid, bite the chunk. I'm not the delicate banana gripping fanny that I was. Now I wear big black boots and I cuss. So when I walk by, don't make direct contact with my eye. I only see blood in the streets, in the sky. So I could give a fuck if I live or I die. Don't come by talking about who you fluffing now. Get the fuck out, put the sandwich on my couch or in my mouth. I'm not the guy you wanna finger bang, G. I'll cut your fucking finger off and throw it in the creek. A lunatic when my face goes numb. You better shoot first or you're dead by dawn. Too late, now it's in the gate. And you're like, wait, shit, wait.
$12-foot placenta type shit. Can't fuck with it. You think we want placenta that big just in our town, on the streets? Nah, we don't want that. You keep talking like that and it's gonna happen. You think we could just move a couple dozen 12-feet placentas off the street? I don't think so. They're just too big and they'll be in the way.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Bacon Shoe, give a round of applause if you're at home. Hopefully you can hear that. Bacon Shoe.
Wow.
Wow, what a fantastic vibe that was.
I dug that a lot.
I dug it a lot.
You
And
know, I
ahead.
think that's weirder than Austin or Portland.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we coming back? Bacon Shoe, you sticking around with us?
Yeah, I have two albums in the branches. One's like a clean album that my daughter wanted me to write, so there's no cursing. It's still
Hell yeah.
weird though. It seems like it's cursing, but there's no cursing. It just feels like it is.
So this is off of a new record that you've done?
Those two are off of the new Not Clean record that's coming out called The Corn King.
Okay, I appreciate that. Get the Corn King. Where what's it on?
What's what on? It's
like
not on anything yet. It's not released.
Okay. So look for that release. But I gotta ask you, John, because I know you, and some people in the audience in the chat, they know of you as well. People are repping Kansas City in here. You're kind of a hometown legend there. How many albums have you done? How many releases? Because I know you for 15 years, 20 years maybe.
Yeah, well, Bacon Shoe, there's only been like 2 actual releases, but with my own other band, Minds Undercover, there's been like 18 albums. They're on Bandcamp, and then there's a bunch of other projects that I've been a part of.
So riddle me this: is Kansas City, Portland, Oregon, or Austin, Texas the weirdest?
I think it's probably all just as weird as the other.
Okay, that's fair and very diplomatic in this presidential election year. I know Kansas City to be totally weird. Now, I did want to get in a little bit. And by the way, if you're round and about and you'd like to chat with Bacon Shoe, call in 712-345 on it. Give us a call. Chris will put that there. And now, John, your band is called Bacon Shoe. And I don't know if you're still doing it, but I always, every time that I ever saw you, you played and somebody was frying bacon the entire time. Are you still doing this?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. No, I see the bacon. I see the bacon behind you. Okay, great.
Oh yeah, that up there. I mean, over there.
It's hard, right? It's hard.
Right here. Right there.
The floating paper plate of bacon. Yes. Now, also, famously, you were family. You had a pig as a family member. I saw it on social media. It was one time a very small piglet, and it was very cute. And then the next thing I knew, it was I would say at least 3 times larger than I am as a human being.
It got very big.
So
I still loved it just the same, though.
So tell us, because I do find this interesting, and also I know that we have some listeners and also a good friend of the show that are huge animal rights activists, and so I am curious to know. It feels like you're a pig life activist, yet what type of message is there, if any, in the bacon boiling outside of the beautiful odor?
Well, as far as owning a pig, you mean? Because
Well, I mean, it feels like a juxtaposition to be so readily
yeah.
frying bacon, and you're like, you really loved this pig. You were posting pictures of it. You were talking about like honestly,
I guess I'm a
it was really
hypocrite.
endearing. It was really endearing, the
I'm
relationship
sort
that
of
you had.
I guess I'm sort of a hypocrite. I mean, I don't know. I love bacon. I loved Mr. Pickles. I would have never eaten Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles.
Oh, is Mr. Pickles not with us anymore?
No, he passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It was really rough. I was trying to give him CPR and everything. He just was puking a bunch, and then he got dehydrated.
Oh
And just died.
no.
Oh my God.
When did this happen?
It was about a year ago.
I'm so
Oh my God.
sorry.
Thank you.
Wow.
All right, pour one out for Mr. Pickles. Did he ever make any appearance on stage with Bacon Shoe?
No. Yes, one time when he was younger, he was off to the side.
Okay, that's
one of the
cool.
shows.
Did he seem bothered by the bacon at all?
No, he would have totally eaten the bacon if I would have given it to him, but I would never do that. I mean,
Yeah, of
But
course.
I mean, yeah.
yeah, that's really bad.
That
That would
is
be a
too
little
far.
far. That is too far. I co-sign that.
But there's the one thing that I want I'm sure that by now everybody knows this, but there is no such thing as a micro pig. It's just it's a pig. They don't feed it enough when it's little, so it doesn't fully develop.
Oh, I did not know that.
So
Thank you.
if you have a healthy pig from the start, it's going to get that big. There is no such thing as a micro
Okay.
pig. That is something I want everybody to know that thinks about having a pig.
So
Thank
wait,
you for that.
was this something that you didn't expect, having a pig that ended
Yeah.
up that large?
I did not expect it to get that large.
Oh wow!
So
But I
how
mean,
big did it get?
It was 240 pounds.
Big.
That's
Okay, so
big.
twice my size. That
And
is absolutely insane.
I took him to the vet once, and it was actually, after you get to know him, it's kind of easy to make him walk places because you just kind of like tap him on the butt just with your toe, like just to the left or right, and he'll go that direction, the opposite direction. Anyway, he went into the vet, and there was this other giant pig in there, this female pig. It was like Petunia or something, and they met each other, and they were just like smitten instantly. They were just like, "Oh my god, this other pig, it's awesome!" And they're just kind of looking at each other, and that was fun.
Wow.
Was that the
Pig
only time
love.
that Mr. Pickles met another
Large
what?
female pig. Yes, that's the only time.
Wow, cool.
Something that I actually am really curious. Sorry, yeah. I just, because at the very beginning you mentioned that you have a clean version of the album, and for your
Not a different version of the same
clean
album. It's totally different
a
songs.
totally different album that is clean for your daughter.
Yes, because when she first found out I was a rapper, like when she was 3 or 4, and was able to finally realize that, she was like, "Dad, I like it. I just don't like the cussing." And I was like, but that's just part of it. And she was like, "Well, you have to just make one album that isn't cursing." And I was like, "Well, okay, I'll try." And it was like a challenge, because I still wanted it to seem like it had an edge to it, and was kind of. There's one song that I'm gonna do that's on the clean one, and you can make your own judgment with it. But it was fun to do. But then after that, she was like, "Thank you." She's like, "Now you can curse again in your raps. It's okay." I was like, "I can?" She was like, "Yeah, you did a good job. You wrote an album of songs with no cursing just for me. So now I'm giving you back the gift of cursing. I'll just ignore it." Because she loves Taylor Swift. She's like, "I just ignore it when Taylor curses."
So when as we're being introduced to Bacon Shoe, like what is I'll be honest with you, and I feel like I have the inside track here, but I always kind of visualized it as this like um, absurdist performance art, like in a way, like it was so sticking to their gun, like no matter what venue I saw them in, the bacon was boiling in the back, right? I remember there being costumes at some point and a lot of props and stuff. So like as that uh like am I on the nose there? Is there any like big concept behind it or identity behind Bacon Shoe directly?
Well, I just like to make beats and I like
Yeah.
to write funny rhymes. And the first show was at the Hurricane, actually, when that was still around, and it was just me
Okay.
and this little panda bear stuffed animal in the behind me that would talk to me between the songs.
Uh-huh.
And there just happened to be like a ton of people there, and that's where I met the first hype man, Twan. He was and he was like, "Man, you gotta let me dance," and I was like, "Cool." And then he started cooking bacon, but he would dance and cook
Wait,
bacon
wait.
at the
He
same
just
time.
started cooking bacon out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
he was like, "It'd be a good idea to cook bacon since it's called Bacon Shoe," and I was like, that is true."
Holy
And
shit.
so he brought a bacon cooker, so he would like dance and cook bacon while he was dancing, and he would always knock it over and splash
That is so
grease all
dangerous.
over. I know, like he actually one time he would get kind of drunk till he would throw the bacon into the audience like as it was freshly cooked.
Oh,
And he hit some guy in the face, but the guy was like, "I don't
Oh
care." He was like, "I don't care. It's cool. You guys are fine." And we were just like, "Okay."
Yeah, I
There
mean,
was,
don't sue us.
it
there was a
really
lot of crazy
is
stuff that
like
happened.
this is such a beautiful conversation,
Wow.
and I'm glad that I asked because I don't know if you know, John. We're a news show, so I'll kind of give you an explanation. But our show, like if it's about anything, it's about subversive culture and how it forms unto itself. That what why it does that, what is the need for it, and all of these things. So these are kind of the questions that we asked in the community that we're trying to inspire. I feel like what you're bringing up about Bacon Shoe is just so that, like what is the word that I'm looking for? When something grows like out of its situation.
Sprout.
Grassroots.
No, no, I'll come back to. But my point is that okay, so you're just making beats at the Hurricane. It happens to be a busy night. I'm sure they didn't bill you with the guys that it was going to be busy, right?
I don't know. I don't remember who I played with, but it was set up like a stand-up comedy thing.
Mm.
Except I had beats, and people were just like, "Oh my god, what's?" They were walking through, and they just kept like gathering, and then it was
and,
like a whole room full of people, and they were just like, "What the hell is this?"
and then Twan showed up on that very first night.
He saw the show and came up to me afterwards.
And so then the very next time he came back as a dancer
Yep.
that also brought bacon with him, and you were like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's called Bacon Shoe."
Yeah, the bacon came a
That's
little later. It came a
fucking
couple shows
genius.
later, but yeah, it was,
Where is Twan now? Can we give a
we
shout
can't
out to
we
Twan?
can't talk about that.
Okay, got you. Okay, got
Leave it, leave it.
heard.
Sorry.
That's
Much love
fine.
to Twan.
Yeah,
Much love
well,
to Twan.
yeah, absolutely. Much love to Twan because that seems like so bold and um and like on the trigger of like life on what's happening. Like I just couldn't imagine myself. First of all, interjecting myself as a dancer for anything or an anything for anything.
We were already friends,
Oh, okay.
so that
Even then,
yeah,
I feel like even when I'm a friend with somebody that's doing something that maybe I want to be a part of, the last thing I would do is ask. It would feel so.
it was destiny though. He like
That's
it
so
just
beautiful.
it just happened, and it felt right. As soon as it was mentioned, I was like, yes, okay.
So then the bacon came later. How did you come up with the title for your band, Bacon Shoe?
Um, well, I wanted to be more exciting than I just thought of it and was like, that's the name. Exactly what happened. I was like,
That's good enough for me.
I just need a name there's just something about it, that sticks around, but it doesn't have to make sense, and it's got to
Yeah.
sound right. And then it's Bacon Shoe and a friend was with me, and they were like, "Yeah, hey, that sounds pretty good, bro. You should use that." And I was like, "Okay."
It does sound
But
pretty good,
my
bro.
friends sound like that. They're like, "Huh?" That's like Keanu Reeves. Like, come on, yeah, Point Break.
I mean, Kansas City really is to me a very inspired place, like
The more
that.
people that I keep meeting through Craig from
Mm.
Kansas City are, yeah, some of the coolest, most innovative people that I've come across lately. And Bacon Shoe, you are, yeah,
Wow.
Isn't that
along,
funny?
along
What,
that line too.
John? What do you have
Like,
to say about that? Like, what do you like on this platform, in under the guise of like subversive culture? Like, how do you feel about Kansas City in the mix of that?
I think that there's been a lot of great things that have happened in Kansas City that I've witnessed, and uh, if everybody else in the world could have seen it, then they would be amazed, because some really talented people doing a lot of unique stuff, and that's all I've seen all my life. So
What do
it's
you think it is about Kansas City in particular that
Yeah.
I
harbors
don't
that?
know, because I feel like everywhere, it's probably not like that everywhere, I guess.
No. Okay. Let me tell you, John,
Yes,
it ain't like that everywhere.
Well, okay, I did this local music magazine called Dandercroft, and that's what started kind of pulling everybody together. And that's how a lot of people met each other, and then it just became this huge group of people that all,
Weirdos.
yeah, make music and
What
do
pulled you
different
to start
art.
a magazine, music magazine?
I had an office job, and I liked to go to shows, and I was in bands, and I was like, I'll just give this a shot. So I learned how to use Quark. I think it was what it was called. Quirk, Quark, Quirk's a
Quark.
drink.
Yeah,
Quark.
Quark. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was and it turned out really good, and I got like into the seventh. It was like 64 pages. Pretty. There was a bunch of interviews, and
Wow.
had people interviewing and taking pictures and stuff. And then after number 7, I was just like, "Oh, okay, I'm done," because I wanted to work on music more. It was taking up a lot of my time. But if I
And
would have kept going, it could have been more. There could have been more. 2 more episodes. 2 issues,
and you also very famously produce these haunted houses in Kansas
That is
City
my
out
thing.
of something that you and I and I'm you might be familiar with this, but something that you and I share is this affinity for a very particular place in Kansas City, and that is the West Bottoms, where I
Yes.
once had my very first venue, and I've just spent lifetimes, it feels like, inside of ragged old buildings there. One I was able to call my home for a little bit. John, I know that you're like really dedicated to that place down there, and you were always converting, yearly. He was building out brand new an entire haunted house. Can you talk to us about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
I'm
please.
still doing it.
Oh,
Hell
that's
yeah.
amazing.
I don't
That's
live in the
amazing.
West Bottoms per se, but I live a mile away, and
Mhm.
I'm affiliated with. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this. Union Library,
Yeah, 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 yeah. They're great guys. They're
and
great guys.
there may or may not be haunted houses that happen at times in that place.
Awesome.
I'm not sure what all I'm supposed to say about that, but
Nobody knows that address.
okay, good.
But I think that so that, interestingly enough, is another very uniquely to Kansas City, but maybe other places. And please call in and tell us about this as we're
Yeah,
gearing up for the spooky season. Kansas
Mhm.
City has this inherent haunted house culture that I never got into,
Well, how
but
have you never told me about this, Craig? You keep introducing cool things from Kansas City to me. How have I not? Maybe you don't know how obsessed with haunted houses I am and
oh,
scary movies. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know that.
It's extremely my jam. Yeah.
Okay, well, Kansas City really has like I really don't know, John. You're in the haunted house
Please.
industry. Would you say that Kansas City is like top tier haunted house cities?
Yeah, I want to say that. But
Okay.
it's got some good ones. It's got some good ones.
I mean, but it's like a cultural institution for Kansas City for the lights to turn on all of the vacant warehouses down in the West Bottoms come fall. Like you go back to school and the edge of hell starts blinking on this, over this bridge. And it honestly, as a child, like it was terrifying to see
I remember
those
that.
lights
It
flick
was
on. Like,
terrifying. And the speaker like blaring the
yes, yes,
wolves and
yes.
stuff like throughout the bottoms, like.
And I remember even thinking, like, you can put hell on a building like that. That seemed
Yeah.
naughty in and of itself to me. But then once I became a teenager and I went to, these they just a million, and honestly, I don't want to put the guy who owns these things on too much, but
Yeah.
there's a ton of like just great names, and they're all these giant warehouses. Some of them have like 6-story slides that you slide down, and seemingly there is an entire I mean, in any other city, in any other like major metropolitan area, you would refer to it as like a very specific theatrical community and industry there that turns on and up every September and goes, until Thanksgiving or whatever. But like it's intense. John, you're a Halloween builder, or I mean a haunted house builder. What about the performers? Do you do the casting? What's that scene all like?
It's usually, it just ends up being me and a couple friends. I don't do casting, and I mean, this year may be a little different. We might actually hire on a couple people, but in the past, it's usually just me and a couple of my friends. We each pick a spot, and we already have it pre-built where it's going to be a good spot. Like you flip a switch on and a bright light comes on and a leaf blower and you yell, you're like, and people always get scared. And then I like to build hallways that go to different parts without having to walk through it, so you can just get to the end really quick.
Escape
Can
pool.
get a couple jump scares in with the secret hallways. Those are my favorite. So,
Like,
yeah,
is there okay? The reason I was asking about the performers because on one hand, and here I go again, making a plea to our community. If you are a haunted house lover, if you are a haunted house performer specifically, please call in because I got a lot of questions for you. Because on
I
one
did that for
hand,
a while.
okay, so
At
on one hand,
Catacombs.
I find it very interesting to like profession and like thing that you're going to cancel other obligations for to like dedicate yourself to this what is it called, seasonal work, right?
Yeah.
Dress up every night, stand in the dark, and actually like physically attack people in a scare, but like that is your life. I can only imagine that if I let go of like my curiosity and just kind of amazement about that, and I kind of dissect it, I'm thinking to myself like that you must be a sicko if that's what you want to do. What what have you experienced inside of the world of theatrical haunted housing? Like
And like,
what's
When
why
I
did
was
you get into it? How did you get into
Well,
it?
I was living in the West Bottoms, and I was right by the haunted houses, and I love to go to them. So I was like, well, one year I was like,
Okay.
I should try to work at one. Do you remember Catacombs?
I do. Yeah,
I
I
was
do.
like, I went there and applied, and I got accepted. And I would show up at 6 o'clock, and they would take me to where I was going to be, and it would start at like 7, and you would be in that little weird corner, like jumping out at people from 7 to like 3 a.m.
Wait,
And
how old were
Wow.
you?
I was like 26 or 27.
Okay, that's great work for a 26, 27-year-old. I felt like there were people that were like 17 working there at like doing
There
those
were,
hours.
I think. I think
That,
there were.
that is fucking insane.
It's really it's not for everybody, and people find out right away. They're like, okay, I can't do
Like
this
So
every
what
night,
makes it for you? What did it work?
I only made it
Yeah.
like a month, and I was like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
I've had enough. I mean, I love building them, and I love
Mhm.
jumping out and scaring people, but just being taken to an area and just being told what to do over and over again, it's just
Ah,
it gets old after a while.
okay, so that was the part of it that got old. It wasn't the
I wanted
actual
to like
acting or
walk
anything.
around. If I
Right,
could
you
like
wanted more
walk
like freedom?
around through the whole place and to decide where I
Mm,
jump out and stuff like that, but you
mm.
can't do that because it would be disorganized chaos.
Right. You can't just have all of the performers doing their own thing, right?
But in the one that I build, I can walk around
You
wherever I want
can.
and jump
Yeah.
out at people. So I can jump out at someone at the beginning and then secret hallway to the middle and secret hallway to the end, and they won't even know I'm the same person each time because I'll just have a different costume
So,
on or something.
Thrilling.
so more directly, have you experienced like a more regular percentage of like weirdo creepos that lend themselves to these jobs? I mean, I want to know the skinny on like what type of personalities stick through, show up every year, do this like it's their life. They're excited about this job.
A lot of them seem like they're maybe from Independence or something. I don't know.
Well,
I don't want to. I don't want to insult anybody.
so
I don't know what to say.
let's most of the people don't know what that means. So like
That means,
try to explain an archetype for me.
I don't want to.
Would you define them as like kind
Like
of
J Rock from Trailer Park Boys or something. Those kind of people.
Oh.
Like a lot of
Wow, I
those
wasn't
kind of people.
expecting that in a
Yeah, that's so
million years.
interesting.
That was
Yeah.
like a big portion of them, and girls who are like super goth and like
That rings
like
true.
really mean or quiet. Like
That's
won't talk
awesome.
I
to
love
you.
that. Really mean or
Oh,
quiet, or mean and
Try to,
oh,
quiet. Yeah.
you just try to be
shout
like,
out to all the goth girls.
just try to be
Yeah.
like, hey, how's it going today? He's like, yeah, like walk away.
Love that.
He's like, oh,
And that's
okay.
their
Well,
opportunity. Oh, I love that. Yes. See, I want to try this job. Craig, as you're talking about this, I'm like, how do I get into this?
Wait, you
I
would
want to
do
it's
try
that?
really
this.
easy.
I would love to
You would
try.
scream at people for 9 hours?
Yeah.
At least for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I would like to try it at least. And I think, I mean, just to speak of the, being raised as a girl, growing up as like a quiet, that like, anytime I thought about doing performance, being on stage would let me get out this like aggression. And like, I never got to scare people in real life. I always have to be like nice and accommodating and stuff. Like, I imagine it giving me the freedom to just let some fucking energy out,
oh, major time. I mean,
Major time.
you just you can,
Yeah.
and some of the people that get these really good snarls going like they'll like come up behind you in your ear and you're like, fuck, what
That
was
was a
that?
good one.
But I mean, yeah, you can just my baby's been. You can do anything you want. You can like say anything you want, and people are just like,
Oh,
okay,
Yeah.
okay. You know,
Actually, that's another thing that I remember very specific for the very few times that I went through. John, as fascinated as I am, I'm really not one for like theme parks or community or like group activities, I guess is what I'm saying. But I really enjoy them. And the first couple times, I enjoy the idea of them. The first couple times that I went, I remember I was awestruck at how like evil and like mean the things that they were saying were, and again, it lends itself to this like. Actually, that makes me remember. There is a guy who very famously has like a haunted house that he builds every year out of his home. and I just it's made national news because he makes people sign a waiver before they go in, and like basically on the waiver he's like, you will shit your pants, or whatever he says. And people sign it away, and people travel from all over the world to go through this thing that like has an ambulance standing by for them.
Mhm.
Wow.
So he has just been arrested
I just
for
saw that.
like the most
Yeah.
egregious and like sick ass crimes, and you think to
What?
yourself, yeah, that makes sense, that checks out, right?
I mean,
Yeah, please, John.
oh no, I was actually going to say something before you said that, and now I can't even remember what it was.
I mean, I want to say that this is like I just read about this guy in this haunted house too. I think if we're talking about the same one, which I think, yeah, we are, because it was. I mean, some I've heard of some where you do have to, sign away that like sign consent that the actors will touch you and stuff, and those are some of the extremes. But this one, there's like real torture. Like they'll like waterboard you, and
Yeah,
you
I
are
heard about
supposed,
that. It's
yeah.
like called the 13th floor or something. There's one in New York where you do have to sign a
There's,
waiver, and like
yeah,
each floor gets worse. And they'll like grab you from your group and take you off by yourself and like tie
yeah,
you to a chair, and like this big guy shows up with his shirt off and like acts like he's about to do something to you or something. That to me,
yeah,
that's not a haunted house.
yeah.
That's a
It's something
trauma
else.
house.
It's not,
Like,
That, I
yeah, it's
mean, yeah,
something
that
else.
is a trauma. A good word. Yeah, that's a trauma house. But I mean, I feel like there is an intersection there as somebody who loves haunted
Mm.
houses and being scared,
I
that
wouldn't like that.
no, I would certainly would not like that level. Like I don't need real life traumas thrown in my face. But there is something about like the jump scare and this, experiencing fear in a safe way in, the
Yeah.
kind of haunted houses it sounds like you do,
Mhm.
that actually for me is why I liked it, because it like let out all this adrenaline of shit that was going on in my life that I couldn't let out in a really safe way. That's why I fell in love with horror movies and haunted houses in the first place. But yeah, those ones, like, yeah, I don't need a trauma house to replay that shit.
Yeah. I mean, and I remember what I was gonna say about the group outing thing, about you not being into that. I just want to let you know that most of the times when I go to the haunted houses, I go by myself,
Mhm.
because if you go with someone else, especially a girl, they'll scare them and then just look at you and be like, "Hey," and so you have to like go by yourself if you really want to get scared. I mean, if
I
you want to make
That's a
sure
good
that,
tip.
I totally hear that and respect that. I think that my issue is it's not necessarily going with a group. It's like being around uh, groups of people. Um, like I don't know. It's like there's like three things that really set me off by thought. It would be theme parks, parking lots, and malls. I get like hyper anxiety in those situations, and I think that that like haunted house I put in theme park because I have to like be in a
Mhm.
line, and then a guy with a rat in his mouth comes up and is like doing a bit with me, and I'm like, I can't do this right now, guy.
You're not good at like
Yeah,
doing the
yeah,
bits.
yeah, yeah. I'm about to cry.
I I totally see where you're coming from with
Yeah.
that. I've never been in that position. I've never had a rat guy come up.
Oh, really?
What?
That's one of the things that I remember most about the haunted house line is that there was always a guy with a rat in his mouth, like a
Really?
ghoul. Like, yeah,
I
like
remember a guy on stilts that would walk up and look
Mm,
down at you and that would, but I don't
that's
I
remember
think
the
that was the
rat.
circus, John.
funny.
I'm just joking.
Well, potato,
Yeah,
potato.
So,
that's right.
so John, it has been wonderful meeting you. I know
Yeah.
that you have another set in store for us, so I would love for you to come back to us later on in the show with another performance and maybe chit chat a little bit with us then. Does that sound good? Do you mind coming back to us?
That's fine. This is a good time. Yeah.
But
Awesome.
yeah, it's really fun. And
Yeah.
in the meantime, Chris, maybe we can go to a commercial, cleanse our palates, and allow our loving audience to call in with their
Oh,
exquisite
yeah.
questions and
Yes.
stories and all of those beautiful, wonderful things.
I want to answer some questions, difficult questions too.
Difficult questions.
Give me some
question about new nerd cereal is which side? Orange flavor on this side. Orange. Cherry flavor on this side. Cherry. So, which side?
They're both so delicious, I can't decide.
New nerd cereal is the fruity good part of your complete breakfast.
Which side are you gonna eat
Which side are you gonna eat first?
Also available in grape and strawberry.
Nerds.
It better be bits. It better be bits.
Oh, yeah, it's bits, Mike. It's bits, I tell you. It's bits. It's bits.
It better be bits.
Oh, it's bits, I tell you. Oh, boy. It's bits. It's bits. It's bits.
It better be kibbles and bits and bits and bits, because dogs love crunchy kibbles with chewy bits. All kinds of bits. For a one-of-a-kind taste, dogs just gotta have.
It better be bits.
Kibbles and bits and bits and bits.
What I tell you, Spike. See? It's bits. Oh, boy. It's bits.
It's the bits that make it better.
Cheese.
Ritz Bits and the taste of real cheese have come together in tiny sandwiches. Introducing new Ritz Bits sandwiches with real cheese.
Alfie, look! The A's are missing from alphabet.
Sounds like Nasty McEvil. He steals letters so kids can't spell their names. Let's go.
No name with A will be spelled today. Yikes! Alfie, the alphabet cereal wonder dog.
Get him, Alfie! Thanks, Alfie. Now all kids can spell their names.
With alphabets as part of this nutritious breakfast. It's doggone good.
When delicious peanutty cream comes together with a crunchy candy shell, what you got is Reese's Pieces, one great tasting candy. In a crazy world where things don't always fit, it's great to know there are some that do. Reese's Pieces, the winning combination.
Hello. It's Diana. I called because I said I would. And you know what? I am so glad I got the voicemail because I wanted to. And I said I wanted to call and leave a message. So I'm calling to leave a voice message. Oh my God, this is so tacky. Anyway, I wanted to leave a voicemail because I wanted to tell you about my continuous flying dreams that I've been having for, God, probably the last 40 years of my life. And mine are so realistic that I realize while I'm dreaming, I'm like, oh shit, I'm dreaming. This is kind of weird. And I look down like, oh shit, I'm flying. I'm like, oh, this, and I'm dreaming and I'm high and I'm flying. I'm like, so I fall. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm up here. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go fly over here. And I'm flying. I'm like, wow, this is so surreal. So I have them once in a while. And I could be not smoking. I could be not smoking. But I feel like when I'm not stoned, I have them more. So there you go. So when you're not consuming stuff, or when I'm not consuming stuff, whichever, people probably have more dreams. So there you go. With wise. Words to the wise? There you go. I guess you can say that. Don't, if you want to have real intense dreams for some people, don't consume stuff. But yeah, when I've had dreams in the past, they are surreal. And I know, I kind of realize, I'm like, oh yeah, I am dreaming. So I kind of snap myself into it somehow. I don't know how I do it, but I do it. And I've had medicine where they say you will have intense dreams. And because I have migraines, I'm going to go on for a little bit. You can edit this, cut it up, whichever. And the first time when I changed over my migraine medicine, my first time consuming this migraine medicine, I had my ex-boyfriend who's in prison and my dead husband in the same dream, and I jumped out of bed. So there you go. That's an intense dream. And I knew I was a dream. And I woke up, I'm like, nope, I'm not having that dream. So there's my dream from your last show. I love you guys. Can't wait to see you guys in 3 hours. Mwah.
Diana talking about dreams and migraines and medicine and substances and flying and scary boyfriends. Just really my jam, extremely my jam. Diana, we love you.
Literally,
That
it's
was so nice.
it's everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and just for the record, everybody at home, when you call and leave a voicemail, um, well, we're not going to edit it. That's the interesting part, because it was just so wonderful, and this is exactly the
Yeah.
type of call that we want to the message that we want to get from somebody, just totally heartfelt and true.
Mhm.
And we could do that live on the air in front of all of our listeners in
Yeah.
perpetuity.
And I feel like that was so in like, because we're talking about spooky season, scary things,
Wow.
dreams. The more we hear from people and the more guests we have on, the more connecting dots I'm finding. And it's really beautiful, this community of people that we've got engaging with us. So yeah, please call in if you want to talk about dreams, nightmares. Nightmares are
Dreams,
scary.
nightmares, new
Yeah.
medications,
New
like
medications.
that is like, for anybody who has been through being medicated in
Mm.
any type of way, even like antibiotics, to be honest with you, but like specifically mental health drugs, it's such it's such a gamble with your life. Like the very thing that you're trying to wrap your brain around and get support with, and like make efforts to try to
Mhm.
be better, that in and of itself can turn you against yourself, you know? And only inside of that process of dialing it in and making it right, you know?
Totally. And it really, oh gosh, again, this is like full circle to the hypnotist that tried to, trick you
Mhm.
when you were 18. Um, that I don't know. Yeah, I've seen a lot of psychiatrists, put on a lot of different medications, and it's sometimes really hard to trust doctors too. And yeah, sometimes they can really, really fuck you up and fuck with your dreams.
Well, and also, yeah, that's the thing, is that, trust a doctor. And listen, I understand that health is and medicine is not a perfect science. I also understand that mental health, if anything, is not a perfect science. And some things that can help one person
Mhm.
can really destroy another. Um,
Absolutely.
but it is worth commenting. And I think that one of the things that I found fascinating and really vulnerable and revealing, and thank you again so much, Diana, for being willing to be that vulnerable so that we can have this discussion that I
Mhm.
haven't heard a lot. That when you have experienced something that can affect your day, like a bad nightmare,
Mhm.
or worse, like eating habits or sleep schedule, any of these, like minor
Mm.
minor
Minor.
right
We need
mi-
food and sleep to live.
minor effects, yeah, but I mean, like any of these, like seemingly benign rituals of your
Right.
day, for somebody who is really trying to grasp life, like those are the types of things that can actually be very traumatic inside of that experience.
Absolutely.
And I've experienced that very directly, and that experience in and of itself has made a second pass at that so extremely dangerous, and the stakes feel so high, because a good faith doctor doing good medicine and doing good treatment can just be trying kind of the things out, and that thing, just my chemistry, set me
Mhm.
off in a way that was traumatizing to me. Like,
Mhm.
I'd rather be unwell than risk going through that again, even for a day, because an hour might be too much, you know? So again, thank you. Thank you so much, Diana, for
Mhm.
doing that. I don't know. Does anybody else have that experience with mental health medication? And
I mean, I certainly have. I'd like to hear more of your experience if you are open to sharing, Craig.
yeah, actually, I was in actually coming out of that breakup that I was
Mm.
speaking of earlier. Actually,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, I was really low, and I felt like I was losing. This was the first person that I lived with. I really felt in love, and you know how you are at that age. It's like
Mhm.
this is the only one,
Mhm.
and I sought out a therapist, and they prescribed me, well, Butrin, and
Mm.
they prescribed it for me specifically because I was just chain smoking, um, in my depression, and not leaving, and just like chain smoking, and it was very very like typical, I guess, cliche. Anyway, and they gave me this because they were like, oh, this is like really low key, and it's also gonna, like, you're not going to smoke anymore, you're not even gonna want to smoke anymore. And I was like, oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Right. Yeah.
And I started taking it, and I didn't sleep at all that night, and I just chain smoked, and I couldn't eat, and I went to work the next day, and at the time I was working at a hotel, and I just stood outside all day, like, waiting for tired to kick in. And this was just with
Mm.
like one dose. And by the way, I'm no stranger to like chemistry. You know what I mean? Like, I can
Yeah.
handle my stuff, and I have
Mhm.
never been put out like this. And as like the day went on, I started to get so paranoid, and then I
Mm.
remembered like the sadness that I had, and
Mm.
that got so actually like out of control. Like, I was out of physical body, like emotional. Like, I
Mm.
don't remember it at all. I remember consequences of it, but I don't remember what was going on. And I don't even blame the drug necessarily. I could have been a lot of factors. I don't necessarily know, but it ended with me lying in the street of New York City, like lying, crying, sobbing, until somebody like lifted me up out of the
Oh my
street, right in
gosh.
front of my and just right in front of my apartment. And whatever, it was just very dramatic, and like that
Yeah.
alone is not like me, and like I'm so adverse to having ever done that, and it
Yeah.
feels so crazy. So I know that it was some sort of it was not me acting, and the only thing that was different was that. And that experience was like, whoa, if I went down that
Mhm.
road for another 12 hours, who knows what could have happened, and it's not
Totally.
worth the risk.
I I hear you, and I think that goes to, what you're saying, that it really does, it's person specific, it's doctor specific, and that, like, not every drug works for everybody. I was put on a mood stabilizer in my early 20s, and one that specifically, if it's given to the wrong people, can actually like create like mania and like restless leg syndrome. It sounds actually quite similar to yours, where, and they they were just like, well, just keep upping the dose, that means it's not working enough. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you, I can't sit still, I'm getting vertigo, like I feel like I want to crawl out
Hmm.
of my skin. And it wasn't until, I kept switching psychiatrists and landed on one that like sat with me, believed me, talked me through it, and told me like, oh yeah, these are like real classic side effects of, this being the wrong diagnosis and the wrong drug for you,
I mean, isn't it like a sick joke that like medicine that is trying to like help you cope with suicidal tendencies
yeah,
makes
made it
you
worse.
suicidal?
Yeah.
You know, like,
And
oh
then
yeah, that's
yeah,
a side effect.
yeah,
Suicidal tendencies
yeah.
is a side effect of the suicidal
Oh my god, it's
tendency
like
drug.
those like again those like drug infomercials where it's like if you do this,
Wild.
think of this, and it's like
Like,
side
honest,
effects may be the exact same thing and
yeah.
worse. Yeah.
Shouldn't that be not like I don't know. And I realize I'm a unique individual, but like
I mean, we all are, and
it feels crazy to me to sell
I've
drugs like that.
I mean, oh yeah, to sell them. This is
Mhm.
anytime I'm traveling in the States, like we in Canada
Crazy.
do not have that level of like pushing pharmaceuticals like and I don't know if there's like different laws or whatever, but it's always a thing when I'm traveling in the States and I just watch cable TV that I have to mute it because it's just like one pharmaceutical after the other. And again, I'm not anti-pharmaceuticals. I just want to make that very clear. Like I just you have to find the right doctor and right mix and right thing for you. And yeah, it's a little bonkers
And also to
how much
people
they're
that
pushed where it's like I'm not a doctor, don't push this to me, like tell my doctor about it and then they tell me what to take, not an infomercial or
right.
an advertisement,
Right. It's not
yeah.
like I can buy it,
Yeah,
and
exactly. It's not like I could buy it anyways. Yeah.
right, and also for somebody that is, I wouldn't call myself a hypochondriac. That's a loaded term, and I'm sure that like that there's like a big difference between somebody who's like a real hypochondriac.
But you
But
might lean
also,
that way.
yeah. I'm not a
I was like,
hypochondriac,
Craig,
right?
somebody who knows me, like,
Right.
you have those tendencies. Yeah,
Literally
yeah.
every time I see, okay, for instance, like this is how bad of a hypochondriac I am. I can't watch Breaking Bad. I'm sure it's a great show. I can't watch Breaking Bad or anything like it really, because
Why?
when I started it in the first season, it was like a cancer story, and I was like, nope.
Oh,
I
you were
cannot go to sleep with that in my
got
mind. I
it.
can't do it. I can't live in that world. It's not fun for me, not
Right.
even for a moment. And people are like, get past it. And I'm like, no, it's cancer. I don't
Yeah.
want to think about it. I don't want to be exposed to it. Like, let me enjoy my
Good
life.
for you. Good for
Right,
you for
right.
knowing that about yourself. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when pancreatitis medicine comes on, I'm like, oh my fucking God, I have
Yeah,
pancreatitis?
pancreatitis.
It's a bit
Oh
triggering,
no.
to be
Yeah.
honest.
No, fair. I mean, that's why I have to have them off because I mean, also because I have been given so much medication from actually a few reckless doctors that that's also why I can't watch those because now anytime I take medication, I'm so hyper aware of side effects that I feel like I like
Ah,
manifest them, Again,
yep, that's what I'm
it's like, oh, may create anxiety. I'm like, well, yeah, now I have anxiety that I'm gonna get all of these side effects.
Oh, wait, Mallory, I just realized
What?
maybe you and I need to live in a bubble.
Oh.
I heard that we had a caller. Caller, are you there?
We'll put a
Hello,
pause on
caller.
living in a bubble for a second.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi,
Oh, hi,
caller.
caller.
Hold on.
Uh,
I was
uh
checking for pancreatitis.
how are you,
Uh,
caller? What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is maddyhasglasses. I'm calling from the Midwest.
Hey,
Oh, hey,
How are you guys?
Maddie.
Maddie.
We know you.
I recognize
Uh,
that voice.
what a beautiful
Or
treat,
how are
Maddie.
you all?
We're doing great. How's your Saturday?
Mine has been terrible, but that's for
Oh no.
another
Oh no. Why is your
What's
Saturday?
episode.
why?
No, tell us that.
No. Let's not go there. I heard that you had some people I know named Bacon Shoe on your show
Oh,
recently.
you're a fan of Bacon Shoe.
Well, I am. I am a fan,
Yeah.
and always wanted to be a friend,
Of
but
Bacon
they
Shoe.
would never. Yeah, they would never let me be their friend.
Well
And
then,
so one time, oh yeah, here
yeah,
we go.
yeah, please go
Here
ahead.
we go. Let me escalate this real quick. And so one
Okay.
time with
Oh,
Bacon
this
Shoe,
is exciting.
we're kind of competing in a local show for best electronic or rap artists or DJs. which
Oh,
we
okay.
all fell in under the same
So you were
category.
wait, hold on. So you were in a band, and you were
Yeah.
competing with Bacon Shoe.
And
Oh,
actually,
this
I
is
think
good.
Craig is going to
This
feature
is
this
live
band.
television. This is live
But
television.
this is going to even get deeper and deeper because
Okay,
Craig
I
is going to
can't wait.
feature my band member who doesn't actually consider me part of the band. I can't hear you, Craig. Sorry.
You
but
can't hear
it's
me?
okay. I can't hear
Can you
Craig.
not hear me?
You
can't
can't.
hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me, Maddie?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mallory, you talk.
I can always hear you. I hear you in my dreams.
Oh, weird. Here we go again.
Trying
Not
to.
weird.
Okay.
What? Because I
Actually,
dream?
no,
Not
no.
that big of a deal.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Can tell us more about this band that what did you say about Craig? Craig featured or?
No. There's
right.
this is a future booking thing that I think that he's talking about. But Maddie, so you were in a
So
band. Yes.
yeah. Or it was just a drunken part of it that provided all the money.
Okay.
So whatever it was. This is going to be a really, really great story. By the way,
I can't
this
wait.
is going to
Can't
be a
wait.
I can't wait.
murder mystery.
Okay,
Basically,
great. Okay, go
between
on.
Bacon
Right on
Chew,
theme.
my band, and whoever that guy is gonna feature
Bacon
in
Shoe.
the future. So it's gonna be like a really cool fucking thing for you guys.
Great.
Can I say it? Can I cuss?
Yeah, go on.
Yes.
I'm
Go on.
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, you can curse.
Are you sure? Okay. All right.
Maddie,
So
can we just re-verify? Can Maddie, just before you go,
can you
can
hear
you
me
hear
now?
Craig now?
no, Craig. But
You can't hear
honestly,
me.
I'm okay with it.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay.
That's
I
fine.
can't
Yeah.
hear him.
He can hear.
Okay.
Hold on. Have him tighten his mic a little bit more.
Oh, Maddie.
I don't know.
Oh, Maddie.
Okay, you got me. Okay,
Let's
you
hear
got
this
me.
murder mystery.
Let's go back to Bacon Shoe, okay? So you guys
Okay.
featured Bacon Shoe, right?
Yes.
Is it okay if I say you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
I'll let you know if
All
you're
right,
offending
well,
anybody.
Here's the thing, is that Craig might not be able to hear us, and he's not part of the guys. So I don't want to offend him.
Okay. Fair.
Go ahead.
All right. So Bacon Shoe is playing a show. This is like a Kansas City sort of like local awards show thing. And
Okay.
I was friendly enough with them, not friends with them, but friendly enough with them. Okay, actually, this is a really big topic of debate. So let me just tell the story straight.
Please
and
do.
not
That
paint
would
it
be great.
the way that I see.
Please do.
Okay,
That
and
would
not
be
paint
great.
it the way that I see. Okay, so
Great idea.
here's the story straight. They're playing their show. They have 2 ladders, a DJ wearing a dog suit who's only spinning raw bacon on the turntables. Okay.
Wait, they're spinning raw
running
bacon
a
on the turtle.
backtrack.
Okay.
They're
That's amazing.
They're running a backtrack. Okay.
Okay.
And this is their like performance show for this awards show, right? So the 2 ladders are like 12 footers. So I'm like, yes. Oh my God. What do I see? I see a thing that I want to go and climb. All right.
That
And
checks out.
at the time, I had been only wearing pink panties, pink see-through panties.
Okay.
Choice.
That were my girlfriend's.
Okay, so see through in the way that we could see all of your bits.
You could see all of my bits, and that actually leads to another circumstance in this story. So, what I do is I climb the ladder, take my pants off, expose my
Your
tight
bits. Your bits. Yeah.
They're all tight inside of the ladies' pants, with
Of
like
course.
one
Mm-hmm.
testicle maybe hanging out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No,
if I
that's
was lucky.
actually good. That's illustrative,
And
and we
they're
get it.
they're see-through mesh pink panties. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Victoria's Secret though, so like
Oh, okay.
super soft,
The cheap stuff.
super soft. Well, you know, not as cheap as not as cheap as the stuff that you get on Adam and Eve.
Okay.
So
Got it.
what is Craig
Fair,
doing?
fair.
What is his L? What is it? What's his? He's giving me sign language. Okay, so anyways, I get on top of the ladder and I take the bacon that the DJ keeps throwing,
Mm-hmm.
and the DJ recognizes me and starts throwing it at me. So I have no shirt on. I am wearing nothing but pink panties on a ladder, and I'm rubbing raw bacon all over my fucking body. Sorry, shouldn't use that word.
Including the
All
testicle
over
hanging
my
out of the
body.
panties.
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
And here, okay, and
Live
you
television.
want to even go there? Because I can tell you
I love
even
it.
worse about the. So, do not rub bacon on your body.
Why?
It caused a horrible third-degree sunburn.
Oh.
So my whole entire body the next day, because I didn't shower because I was drunk off my fucking piss. I didn't shower after I rubbed my body with this bacon grease and went to sleep, woke up, and I was completely blistered, dried the fuck out. There was no amount of water, there was no amount of Gatorade, there was no amount of fucking intravenous,
That's
anything that could have
terrible.
fixed this. So, when you talk about the testicle,
Okay, come on.
I'm going to continue a little bit.
Yeah.
The butthole
Oh
was the absolute worst.
Oh wow. This is
Have
terrible.
you ever had a butthole you had to put Carmex on?
No.
No, Maddie, I
No.
can't say I have. Nope.
No.
All right. So
it's terrible.
that was
and clean up your
my-
act here, buddy. Because you're
hold
writing a very, very, very thin line right now.
All
Not
right,
that we're
that was
against
my
any
experience
butthole
at
anythings,
the
but
last Bacon Shoe
we all know what
show.
I'm saying here. Okay, so get to the point here, Maddie.
Hold on, I think I lost it with butthole.
Okay.
Well,
PlayJoe?
So hold on a second. But I think my point is that that's what I did at a Bacon Shoe show.
Oh.
Well, that
And
is actually
hold on,
interesting.
Here's
That is
the
actually
dichotomy.
interesting.
Here's the thing: is that was I a supportive member of the band or was I an aggressor?
That seems very aggressor.
I mean, it is something that would be bold.
It's very bold, and like we were talking about earlier,
I was never kicked off. I was never kicked out.
Okay, just listen for a second.
And I was kind
Just
of
like
embraced.
we were talking earlier about Twan famously started the bacon craze inside of Bacon Shoe. It was like this organic act where I'll bring bacon. And as absurd as that is, somehow it built an identity for this strange thing.
Yes.
To me,
So,
it
did I
feels
not-
like you might
did I
have
not
been taking
add?
it up. You might have been taking it up like to a notch
Did
that
I not
maybe I don't think it depends on the
Well-
context, actually. I don't know. It depends on the context. Actually, I'm willing to walk it back because maybe it could be interesting.
Could it?
It
Maybe you're right.
was.
Well, I mean, do you have any? You said you weren't kicked out, but were you self-aware enough at the time to feel the vibes of the crowd or the people around you and how they were receiving you? Okay,
Yes-ish.
and what's your
But-
take?
But I was in kind of a shocker sort of. Bacon Shoe is kind of a shock rap group.
Yeah, I think we've gathered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, it's a different kind of shock than the story that you just told of, rubbing bacon all over your body with
well,
the
here's
Victoria's
the thing: is
Secret
that
mesh
I mean,
underwear.
actually, Mallory, when you
I
say it
don't
like
know. I
that,
don't know.
when you say it like that, it actually sounds really charming.
All you needed was me to translate.
Here's the thing: is that nobody was
Did you just
harmed.
tell this story?
I did encroach upon somebody's performance,
Yeah, that's not cool.
and no, it's not. But
It's not
they
cool.
didn't kick me off. John knows me well enough that he could have pushed me off that ladder.
Yeah,
So
well,
here's
that so
That
wait,
sounds
so wait, so
dangerous,
yeah,
though. That's like,
That seems
sure, you could just push somebody off of a ladder.
Yeah, that seems like a bad
Yeah, why
metric to
not?
gauge whether or not what you did was wrong or not.
Yeah.
Did the human
Shoot.
push me off a ladder? That
We were
does not necessarily mean that what you did was wrong. And you know what? Actually,
okay.
maybe what I'd like you to do, I'd like to do an experiment here. Mallory, is it okay that I do an experiment?
Please.
Okay.
Let's do.
Maddie,
Wait, hold
what
on.
I'm gonna
Why didn't you ask me?
no, Maddie, what I'm
Wanted
gonna
to get
do,
to
Chris,
John
you can
so
cut
we
his
could get
mic.
this
You can
all
cut
right.
his mic. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask you to call back. Think about how this went. And then call
No.
back later, and then
Stop.
call back later when we
Stop.
have John back on. You can cut the call.
That's a good
Yeah, you can cut the call.
idea.
I think it would be great if you thought about how that went and the story that you told. And when John comes, this is great
This
because
is great.
now we're going to have this band come back and we're going to ask them about this story, and then I want to see what I'm aiming for tonight here, Mallory,
Yeah.
is retribution.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
Retribution
That would be beautiful.
to whomever is worthy.
Ooh.
On a ladder and rub bacon on yourself in front of everybody else's stage show.
Okay. All right. Call back later. And right now, we're gonna go to a commercial. I know that we have a another call lined up, and I can't wait to talk with them. Please hold, caller. In the meantime, we're gonna go to a short break, and we're gonna come back with all new stuff to talk about. Hey. Hey, it can't be perfect all show long, guys.
You've been doing pretty well so
Yeah,
far.
yeah. And we're going to commercial. Toodaloo, 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 toodaloo.
Can 4 average kids save the world from an alien invader? With your help, they can in Earthbound for your Super NES. The fate of mankind is being threatened by the evil alien Gygus. But 4 spunky kids with psychic powers accept this incredible challenge and embark on a journey to save the world. 24 megs power this adventurous game as you travel to 12 different locations and select from more than 40 weapons and 80 items to battle your enemies. Battery backup saves your progress in your quest to destroy Gygus. It's Earthbound for your Super NES.
Now get the Earthbound Player's Guide free with your purchase of the Super NES Earthbound Game Pack.
Let me tell you what bugs me about human endeavour. I've never been the human in question. Have you? Mankind went to the moon. I don't even know where Grimsby is. Forget progress by proxy. Land on your own moon. It's no longer about what they can achieve out there in your behalf, but what we can experience up here in our own time. It's called mental wealth.
We are Nintendo Ultimate TV Game System. Aim your zapper gun. You cannot beat us. Even with your robot partner, you cannot beat us. Discover new worlds. You cannot beat us. We are Nintendo. We challenge borders. You cannot beat us.
Nintendo really made made some weird commercials, and that game Earthbound, I sourced that commercial because it was just such a, like an infinitely weird video game. But the other thing that I wanted to comment about, if anybody picked up on that PlayStation commercial that we had there, it's just a great commercial, but it's also by Chris. It was directed and whatever designed by Chris Cunningham, who was the director for all of the Aphex Twin videos. If anybody
Oh, I
was
didn't
familiar
know
with
that.
those,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
and like he was such
Really
a
gives that vibe.
he was such a hero of mine, and then when I
Mhm.
saw like his work in a commercial, it was just like it was totally mind blowing. So anyway, there's a deep cut for any of those Aphex Twin fans, and I think that Mallory, we have another
We have
caller.
another caller.
I'm so excited to get
Really?
to them. Caller,
Yeah.
are you there?
I'm here.
Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Mr. Rosewood calling from Los Angeles.
Oh, Los Angeles. That's where I am, Mr. Rosewood.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. First time caller.
Yeah.
What did you call to talk about? How's your Saturday going?
My Saturday is wonderful. I am laying out by the pool looking at this. Well, there's really no stars in the Los Angeles sky, but it's a beautiful night. It's cooled down. Love it.
It's been
Love
extremely.
it. Y'all were talking about feeling young, dealing with younger people, but feeling like they're your peers. That resonated.
Yeah.
Like being timeless.
Mm.
You know? I
Yes.
still feel like I'm 15 and 24. There's something. Do you watch the show Industry?
No.
No.
Should.
What is that?
It's great. It's a British stock show, but the music's pretty cool. But they were talking about we are who we were at 7, and the same person we were yesterday. They're the same, and how we deal with that is like the wonder of life.
Wait a
Whoa,
second.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah, please say that again.
It's slower. That was good.
We're the same person we are now as we were when we were 7, and the same person we were yesterday, and how we deal with that is one of the contradictions of life, of how we are the same. I just came across a mental health report from when I was 7, and it's crazy. I showed it to my girlfriend, and she's like, "This is still you." I'm like,
wow.
I'm the same person.
I've sometimes said, to be kind of controversial, but I've sometimes said that like people don't really change. And I don't mean that in like the habits or the way that they're performing around people, if people can like learn to be nicer, get meaner throughout their life or whatever, right? But like the essence of them, they don't change. They don't change.
No.
Like I can remember very specifically, like it was yesterday, and not just a memory like it was yesterday, but like I identify as the exact same way that I did when I was 7 years old, burning a candle in my bedroom and like listening to the Doors,
Now, do you find because I know your history, so do you
Yeah.
find when you go home and you see people who never got out of town, but you've been all over the world, you've changed in ways they haven't, and they are still the same person? Like I find that people who've gone to war, or people who go away and come back and have had experiences and life experiences, there's a shift in their life. The people who haven't had those experiences are kind of the same person. This is why people kind of just rot away at their hometown. You never leave.
Yeah. Sometimes I do, because I feel like a different person than anybody in my hometown would know me as, right? But they don't know me as that, and they don't give a shit, right? So when I go back to my hometown, I feel like everybody knows me as the way that they last knew me, and and I play to that. In a certain way, like that's kind of my nature in places, is that I kind of let people tell me who they think that I am, and I play into that, or I knowingly play against that, for what you know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah.
but I have felt frustrated sometimes when I feel like, oh man, I wouldn't I wouldn't put myself in this situation in my real life. You know what I mean? But I kind of got to eat. I just got to let it go here because, like, how do you demand that type of understanding of somebody, even though they know you?
Right.
Mr. Rosewood, is this something that you relate to? Did you leave and then had this experience of going back to your hometown and having people maybe see you the same or different?
Absolutely. Like, I feel that they are they're the same person doing the exact same thing they were doing 40 years ago.
Mm.
And there's been no outside or inside force that's caused change in their life. So they go to high school, they go to college locally, and then they just have their job, have their kids, and they're doing the same thing. And they're all excited to go see a cover band on a Saturday night.
So do you think that like, what is there a universe where that actually is the more enjoyable existence?
I mean, absolutely. You figure if that's what you were raised to believe was the way to go, and you have kids and a wife, and you're like, I mean, I guess the question is, what were your aspirations when you were younger? If your aspiration was to go to New York and do ballet, and that's not what you did, then there's going to be something there. But if it's not, if it's like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm going to college, local community college, and I'll get a job, raise my kids. I'll see my aunts and uncles and cousins, because that's what.
Did you all have aspirations as children?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. I had like a series of aspirations. You didn't have
Really?
any aspirations?
No, but I mean, that's where I maybe am unique in the place that I grew up in. I just, as you're talking, Mr. Rosewood, I'm thinking of, like, I was taught, I mean, encouraged to travel for like a year after high school, but then was kind of expected to fall back in line, come back, you know, to the town, find somebody to marry, or, you know, and do all those things. And so that never
Once you
felt good
have first have,
growing up.
right. When
That
did
never
you
felt
first
good to me
feel an
growing up, but
aspiration to do something else?
oof. Honestly, like, within the past year, I feel like is the first time I've ever felt like I've had dreams and future thoughts. I think a lot of, you know, my life has just been following whatever will keep me alive and wanting to stay alive and engaged in the world. So I guess if there is an aspiration, it's been me just trying to search for meaning and my people, I guess. But in terms of like going to school for something specific, or, you know, having a dream of having a show or being a teacher, you know, those are things that I really couldn't relate to growing up.
Right. And you got to think that of the 8 billion people in the world, most people are like that. They either just fighting to survive, or they don't know what that is, that little spark of inspiration about something. And that is most people, you know?
Yeah.
I feel very lucky to have known what I wanted to do since I was like 13 and then did it. And I feel very lucky that my parents allowed for me to, like, they never said no to anything. That's probably why I still am a spoiled brat. But
there's like privilege
anything I
in
wanted to
aspiration.
try, yeah.
Even
though they didn't have the money for it, anything I wanted to try, they made sure happened. And I just came across like when I was 14, I went to Europe, and it was like 40 cities in like 60 days, which is crazy to think about, having that much exposure to the rest of the world.
At that age, especially.
Yeah, wait, 40 cities in 60 days. Like, what were you on tour at 14?
No, we just went all over Europe, and I'd been twice
That's amazing.
before.
That's amazing.
And it was,
Well,
just to explore the rest of the world.
that brings up an interesting point that I kind of thought earlier as well. Mr. Rosewood, that
Yeah.
that like you have to know it exists. Like, for instance, when I moved out of, and Kansas City is like I said, I was born in Kansas City. Kansas City is a great town, reputable, whatever. But somehow I just didn't have it in my mind that I could like be an artist or like a bohemian, or you know what I mean, or like certainly not in like these most expensive meccas of the United States. It just didn't. It didn't even seem like an option. It seemed like a fairy tale. So when I went to New York, I feel like my only aspiration, it felt like, was to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right.
once I was able to get out, my other aspirations kicked in. I saw the things that were available to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
so what's interesting about that, like when I went going back to the original question, like is there a universe where that is the preferred lifestyle? Well, yeah, certainly, but it seems most of the time that choice would be made without any information to make that choice. So it's like, it's self-fulfilling.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What's we regret the things we didn't do the most? Like when I think about someone who didn't get out of their city, who didn't try for their dreams, like they live there. It's okay to go out and do it and fail, right? I failed, I tried. But I think most people probably have that regret of not trying to do any of their dreams. And that probably catches up to them at some point in life, even if they say they're
I'll tell you
happy and they
what,
have their kids and grandkids.
as absolutely cliche as it sounds, I echo that like quote in my head so often in my life, especially when I was new in the city on my own for the first time. And when opportunities came my way and my inclination was to stay away from it, I thought to myself, like, if I don't die, it's like it's the thing that's going to propel me. Like this is where, and
Yeah.
it sure enough, you never die. I never died. I guess you could die.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize, like, oh wow, I can kind of cut my own path, but I have to know the world that I can cut. I have to know what paths are an opportunity, or to even dream an opportunity like that is a very hard thing to get at. So
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just going to say that, Craig, earlier you said like, having aspirations is a privilege that I think having dreams in that way is too, because it's how, a lot of people don't have the time or space or context to even know what you could dream of, or even know what you could work toward or aspire to.
Okay. So then how about
Right.
this question? Then we're saying that hypothetically speaking, just for argument's sake, it is the choice to stay put, let's say, is the desirable choice, especially it's only if you've never given yourself a choice. So let's try to quantify those two choices and say, like, is basically it begs the question, is ignorance bliss? Like, is it a preferred mechanic of life to keep it dialed in? I know when I go to a restaurant and I see 60 things on the menu, I'm not eating anything.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know how that applies.
no, I mean, I think. Wait. 60 things. Well, sometimes just having a few options in front of you
Right.
can relieve yourself of, knowing that the whole world is open to you, whether it's food or the, occupations or dreams or movies on Netflix.
And you're allowed to
Right.
become an expert. You're allowed to become a master, even if
Yeah.
only to your own community. You're still a master.
I think something
Well,
I
think about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
No,
for it.
please go ahead. You go.
I mean, think about being younger and pre-social media or beginning of social media, where it was like, I want to go to Tokyo, I'm reading Murakami, and I'm visualizing in my brain, where now, like you said, with the 60 things on the menu, I can go anywhere in the world on my phone. and I can explore that. And does that take away from dreams and desires, or does it make it even more? And more to the point, I'm the local expert in some little thing in my town. All of a sudden, I can seem like the bigger expert because I can put it out on social media. So I can actually don't have to go anywhere to experience that. I think probably people are overwhelmed by all of this.
It's a really great point.
So there's like I remember that impasse, and again I had just moved to New York at the early 2001, right? So in the year 2001, up until that point, like part of my identity was my record collection and like my snobby attitude about my musical taste or whatever the fuck, but like that's what I put my back into in high school. That was kind of the culture that I was most like interested in, right? Yeah, I know, right? Okay.
We were all teenagers.
So early on in my record collecting history, I asked the cool record store clerk that was behind the counter. I'm gonna shout him out. Recycled Sounds record, and now Sister Ann's Records, in Kansas City, Missouri. Go check them out. Support them. But one of the record store clerks, and again, like the coolest record store clerks, and I'm looking for like the best punk record, and he, like a movie, he snobbishly is like, oh, it's Wire, Pink Flag. At that age, I was like, I have no idea what that is. And then immediately, like afterwards, I was like, okay, where's the Wire section? He's like, oh, you'll never find that. Right. So the thing is that I couldn't hear the music. There was no place for me to even enjoy what the best punk record is. You know what I mean? Off of like the picks that I was choosing at the time. So it took me years of digging to find this record, and I was at the Lounge Act. Shout out the Lounge Acts in Chicago, and I found a copy of Wire, Pink Flag, and I listened to it. When I got, I bought the record, and I couldn't even listen to it until I got home. And then I get home, and then I put it on the record, and I'm like, what? What? Why was I waiting so long for this? And it took me a while. And of course, like now I understand why it was such a huge record, and it became one of my favorite records. That's beside the point. The point is that when I started hanging out in New York, I was hanging out with some people that were younger than me, and they didn't have a record collection, but they got really into the downloading and collecting music online. Right. And so we're like flexing, hanging out at somebody's apartment, my apartment, and I'm kind of flexing my musical taste and they're flexing theirs. And I pull out I even wait to crescendo this moment, and I pull out Wire, Pink Flag. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's a really good record. Have you? And, and then they're throwing out some, and I'm like, oh, my God, all this fucking work that I have put in. 16-year-olds in New York City have it all on their fucking iPod.
Yeah.
They know way more than me. They've been digesting it at a breakneck speed. I had 3 years in between like good grabs that really turned me on, you know what I mean?
I feel like, are you saying there's something in the digging, again, to go back to what Mr. Rosewood is saying about, the access at your fingertips, that there's something about the digging, the discovering, the searching, the actually traveling to the place?
It certainly made me feel more like a gatekeeper.
Right.
Like it was mine. And it was mine to start giving. Like none of my friends had heard Wire, Pink Flag, but I turned them on to it, right? And so it was like my trophy. It was my win socially, in a way. Now that is all neutralized. Like what is okay? So, Mr. Rosewood, what in today's society is the new like gatekeeping valued thing that you could even gatekeep?
Oh, that's a good question, because if I knew, I'd probably have a Substack telling people about what people do in this day and age. What is that thing? I don't know.
What could it be?
That is a good question. Mallory,
because I don't, and also now I'm wondering, because I had that word gatekeeping. I feel like I'm always balancing, really appreciating putting in the effort to like discover a thing and feeling like it's yours. And also, I can be resistant to gatekeepers in general. I think it's something I want to always be like very not always critical of, but just have a critical eye towards, who is gatekeeping what for. Like
I love
what is the
gatekeepers.
purpose of gatekeeping? And I think it looks different given the community. But if we're talking about, music, for instance, um, why are we gatekeeping?
Well,
Right.
gatekeeping meaning like I'm bringing it to the table, and
Okay.
I get like, but I think that isn't that like the fun of I don't know. Maybe it's a dated like idea of fun in community.
I
Like
don't
what
know. Yeah.
in the information age, what is it? I've seen this happen so many times at dinners that it took me a long time to kind of warm up to it. But Mr. Rosewood, do you remember a day where you could argue about subjects without anybody knowing the real answer, and you could argue all
Yeah.
night long at dinner and debate the topic and some of those dinner discussions back in a dated year, I took those learned facts at the dinner table
Yeah.
and shared them with a present community
Yeah.
who immediately
'Cause
called my bullshit.
no one had Google on their
Yeah.
phone. Yeah.
Right.
So it was just,
Remember when it was
yeah.
good enough
Yeah.
to just have a good argument?
Or
I
to
had
be
a
able to
dinner
argue
party.
well enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Please, Mr.
I had
Rosewood.
Yeah.
people over for dinner recently, and I left the voice version of ChatGPT open while we were talking, and it would just chime
Oh.
in as part of the conversation, correcting us and giving us input on things. It was crazy.
Wow. How did that affect the
Whoa.
flow of conversation? I would love to hear more.
It was weird at first because everyone stopped and looked, but after a
Right.
while, it just became another voice in the conversation that would jump in. And we'd say, "Oh, what's that word? What's that word we're looking for? The French word," and it would just say it.
Wow.
It was crazy, and it would pick
Well,
up all the context clues, everything. It was great.
that feels like one of the best arguments I've ever heard for ChatGPT and AI, period. Like socially, I actually kind of including it in that way instead of having somebody on their phone and everybody goes under their phone and disappears into their phones to fact check each other of letting the AI be a participant in that way. That is so interesting.
Yeah. And it was really like there were a few times where someone would say, "What's that word? It means this or something." And you know,
Mhm.
someone would be like, "Oh yeah, it's that." It would just say it, and it was kind of beautiful in the timing of how it did it. Whether or not it was right or wrong, it just felt like another part of the conversation, adding to
So
the conversation, not
this
taking
is
away.
so interesting because I was gonna ask, I guess, like a follow up is, yeah, was anybody doing the thing on their phones, like checking to see if ChatGPT was right or not?
No,
Okay.
which is the next level of it because it's clearly wrong at
Right?
times. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we know that it's not, yeah, an objective fact checker, and it is learning from humans and learning how to speak like humans, and
Yeah.
can be confidently wrong sometimes, just like humans.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's weird, Craig? You mentioned going to New York in 2001.
Yes.
I've been asking people if they could go back to any time in history and participate in a music scene, where would they go? Right? Where would the two of you go? If you could go any point in time in history and to explore a music scene, where would it be? Where and when?
Oh man, I'm on some real like, even though I fancy myself a New Yorker at heart, I'm on
Mm-hmm.
some real LA shit right now. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I would really like to visit like the um like the cool jazz era. like LA cool, West Coast cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chet Baker and
Yep.
these like dusty Hollywood adjacent heroin ridden speakeasies with like some really depressing vibey
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
That would
that's where I'm at right
that'd be
now.
great.
How about
Yeah.
you, Mr. Rosewood?
Boy. There's something, I mean, even though I live in Los Angeles and I know what it'd be like down to smelly patchouli, there's something about like late 60s Los Angeles,
Oh yeah.
Laurel Canyon, all of what was going on, psychedelics, that would be really interesting. But I'm sure there's other times in, Europe that like who wouldn't want to be like around Tangerine Dream at whatever point in the 70s just for the fun of it.
Oh man, I didn't
Of
even
the
think
people I
about that.
asked just
Europe,
recently, 4 people told me the place they would want to go that like more than any time in history was 2007 New York.
Wait, I'm sorry,
Sorry, can you
PlayJoe. There was
repeat that?
something. There was a technical issue in our
Yeah.
ear. Would you repeat that last bit? I'm very sorry.
I was loving the studio audience applauding me. They all wanted to go to 2007 New York. They said that was the best time in music history.
2007. Okay.
Yeah,
It
New
was
York.
it was pretty special. I mean, it was a pretty special time that I had no idea what I was showing up for, and it felt even kind of special in the moment. And it's kind of cool to relive that. Do you have anything like that you've been in the experience and inside of it while it was happening, you were like, oh wow, this is historical what I'm being a part of?
Oh yeah, for me, for sure. I mean, various points, but definitely New York, 95 to 2000.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. What scene was going on at that time that you felt like you were witness to?
New York hip hop.
New York hip.
New York
Oh
hip hop,
wow.
yeah.
What a time.
Yeah.
What a time to be there. Yeah. Mallory, what would be your time of choice?
I don't know. I've really been racking my brain and like everything that y'all have said. And now I find these questions really hard to answer. I mean, because I love all different kinds of music, and I feel like I mean, I wouldn't go back, but I just remember, my first concert. I mean, that was NSYNC, and that was like that changed my life.
Oh wow. Wow.
And I'm
Yeah.
not,
What about
I'm not.
What was that?
What was
moment?
it?
Honestly, I think it was being amongst the crowd, and like I think, if I'm thinking about concerts, that's I think that's why it's easy for me to imagine, in all these different decades and stuff you're talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool. Cause I'm imagining it's the community aspect of it. It's like being
It's the
amongst the
context.
people, and it's the context and finding your people. And I think that's what I think of every concert that I've loved. And I remember the first time I saw Metric, who opened for Billy Talent when I was 18 at like a small
Billy
university thing. Yeah. And like that felt like it changed my life too. That was the first kind of like punk band that I'd ever seen, and so all I can think about is moments in my life. And so I think imagining going back to any, it's about the, being a part of like a movement and around your people, and like discovering yourself through the people in the movement,
Right.
So true. So true.
And that's the thing when you think about all of the, look at Studio 54, right? But at the same time as Studio 54, you had cafeteria happening, right? And when you realize that, like, LL Cool J was a busboy. The Beastie Boys were working as busboys. When you think about the community that was happening around a scene like that, and all what came out of that, you can't not talk about all these scenes without the community and the Chris Cunninghams of the world. As I heard you talking about video stuff, people popping out of scenes because they're all influencing each other.
Oh, it always comes back to these little counterculture like movements. It always comes back. Thank you for landing us there, Michael, because absolutely punk rock changed my life. Not because I was a punk, but because it was like accessible and because it was accepting. I was able to like go in and be myself, and be unapologetic for it. And these movements also and also what's interesting is that these, like, when I was 16, there was this place called G Coffee. Okay. And it was out in the middle of Kansas somewhere. And we had to drive for hours to get out there. But that was like the punk house that everybody played in. And what, like, the unsung hero of culture and all of the people in my generation that came out of this weird place in the middle of the country, right? Like, where's the credit for the influence of these punk houses being, inspiring the poem to be written that they might not have written themselves, and inspiring the musician, inspiring the artist. It's such an important, the context is such an important part of these cultural touchstones. What is this university that people can pass through and learn their trade, learn their movement, gatekeep it from other people? There is something to even say for like the exclusivity of that, right? Like, how come the Beastie Boys were working as underlings inside of this thing? Because they were chosen, because they had it in them to develop and learn from the culture and be the culture.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of contradictory to certain aspect of like maybe my spoken or identified ethics, but there is something to say for exclusivity inside of subculture. And in fact, the normalization of these subcultures is the greatest offense.
Yeah.
Because now there's no rope. If everybody's here, then I'm right back to where I started, not belonging.
Well, I was thinking about what you said about the punk world. Like, back when I was younger in the punk world, everyone was accepted because it was the outsiders, right? But now I feel that because of mainly social media, but because of these, everyone having their own niche, and if you don't look like us, you can't play with us kind of vibe. That I think even like young punks are like, oh, you're not part of us because you don't look like us, because it's more of a fashion than it is an ethos. And it used to be an ethos, but I feel like more, and of course there's always the real people who live it, but I feel like so many subcultures right now are about the fashion or presenting that way than being inclusive to everyone. And I'm a huge fan of exclusivity. So it's weird to think that.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting using these words, because I think, to me, in the way that y'all are talking about exclusivity, that there is like an inclusivity in that exclusivity,
of course,
And I think, it's just interesting. Yeah, it's just interesting, the language we use right now. And I really think that you're onto something there, Mr. Rosa, with the optics and the outer facing self being kind of at the forefront now, and the way of fitting into a niche or not, instead of going to, knowing where to go to listen to the music, knowing, where to find your people, and like living the ethos and, the values of whatever given culture is.
It reminds me of like a very it was another learning lesson when I first got to New York. I remember being new to the neighborhood, and like my only motivation at that time was to acclimate and feel like a New Yorker and look like a New Yorker, be taken as a New Yorker. You know what I mean? So I remember going into Bodega to get a sandwich, and I was like, I don't know these products. right? I haven't, but you just grab a bag of chips and it's new to you. You know what I mean? Because I had a grocery store with a million choices, right? That wasn't my life anymore. And I loved it, and I accepted it, and I loved it, you know. I also remember that there was another person that I saw somewhere in Midtown, and they were obviously kind of new to the city, and they out loud looked at the chip aisle and they were like, "What? There's none of this? They should get this," right? And I thought, "Oh, that's not the one. That's not the one that I want to be."
No,
Right? Like, how dare you
no.
come into our party and tell us what music to play?
Yeah,
This
like, why don't you
wasn't
have a
for you in
wider
the
variety here?
right.
Yeah,
This
no.
wasn't for you in the first place. And we're not here to concede to your creature comforts. Like, if you're welcome to join, but you got to be part of us. And you got to respect the code that we're living under, because that's the way we like it over here, you know? And that's okay if you don't like it, because it was never actually for you in the first place. And I think, and although it sounds offensive and like exclusive, it's also a way to protect ourselves when we're feeling like outcasts.
Well,
By
and
the way,
respecting
I
your
don't want to not be
neighborhood
an
and your
outcast.
people, you know?
Right. I'm very
Yeah.
happy to be an outcast. And the one thing that keeps me an outcast is keeping away from the rest of them. You know?
Yeah.
I feel very good to hear. Mr. Rosewood, you know, we are going so long. I could actually talk to you
Yeah.
forever. I hope that this is the first of many, many
Me
calls.
too.
All of these topics were so interesting, and I have so much more to say, but I know we have to get to another musical performance. Are there any final thoughts for you, good friend?
I love what y'all are doing. You hear from me
That
again.
really means a lot. That really, really means a lot. And again, we hope to hear your voice
It
again
was
soon.
just wonderful talking to you. Really hope you call back.
And yeah, thank you so much. And you know, that's the type of call that we want from you.
That was beautiful.
What a great call.
That was a really nice
We're
call.
just
Yeah.
does any of the stuff that I'm saying resonate with you at home? Does it do you hate it? Do you really disagree with it? Sometimes I feel like I say things and I'm really on thin ice with it. Sometimes I feel like I'm right on the nose, but I'd like you to help me out and tell me, you know? In the meantime,
Live on it live. It's your old pal Vince. I'm hijacking your airwaves via voicemail to start my own segment, Vince's Weekly Question. This week's question is, what is your favorite pasta shape? Discuss.
Fusilli? Anyway, now Bacon Shoe.
Look at those jelly old kids in the back try to hijack, broke into my underground vault where I keep the beats at. And if they get the sticky fingers on my beats, there's no telling what type of rap they release. We gotta cover these beats in cheese, make them so clean that even the OGs are like,
dang, that's a real nice beat. Give a kid a couple damn good CDs.
Put it into the tape deck and start to flip switches and make the other rappers go and have to switch bridges, which is inconvenient if they had plans. If that's the case, I'm sorry,
it looks
man.
Like it's gonna get deep.
Double thick bun, so we'll double that meat. If they see what I saw, then they won't see anything at all anymore but the floor. As long as it's okay, I'd like to just sit back and not think about anything and let the words go. Let the words go. Let the words go. Snap back to the rap attack. I'm still hitting you with syllables and leaving you flat. Cause I flex my words to tangle up the other rappers' nerves, so the fools get served. We gotta cover these beats in cheese, make them so clean that even the OGs are like,
dang, that's a real nice beat. Give a kid a couple damn good CDs.
As long as it's okay, I like to just sit back and not think about anything and let the words go. Let the words go. Let the words go. Thank you. Yeah, we got one more. Fresh. Oh shit, I woke up and my dick split right in half. Now I got two dicks like my dad. I could do the shit he could do. Both of these dicks gonna fuck you. Well now, you thinking that you need to escape, but two dicks gonna feel great. That's true. Sit there, think about the things you could fuck. 14 pounds of ground chuck. Woke up again, I was dead. Just because I took a nap in the elephant's neck. Bassoon, tongue, finger, back, team, petite. Last night, Donahue fucked my niece. My therapist shot himself 37 times in the pinky toe. It grew back and he hid in the mental hospital. It takes dicks to fuck shit. We got dicks to fuck with, so let's get fucklin'. I just fucked like 10 things. Even fucked a bucket of pinky rings and Santa Claus cheese. Polluted thick with the new sauce. 87 mil of hams ready for the North trough. Coming thicker than thick. Peanut butter and horse lip. That's why I ride the fastest. I undress to impress. I get no rest with fake breath pressed on my fore chest. To touch the nostril is soft.
Yeah.
It's been confirmed it's a soft nose. My finger touched one side and it plugged a hole.
It's a soft nose, yeah.
The finger feels the nose and it's soft. The second time I touched the nose, it was still soft. Wipe my finger on my clothes. Hey kids, listen up. Try to never grow a second nose on your butt. It happened to me on accident and it's not good. Have to cut a hole in the chair to sit down. Dance a hairy mole on a bear and sniff brown. carpal tunnel in the nose make a kid frown, and that's a hard way to live. And each kid that you birth gonna bum sniff the tippy top of the butt cheek. Nose turns pink in the summertime when you're in the water slide line. People staring and laughing and try and tap on it. Hey, knock it off, man.
God damn it.
Then the real bad shit goes down when your butt nose gets a cold, starts blowing out. Triple holes, real bad. Quad hole is the ultimate setback. The drip organic and plug holes and strip disease moles. Taking care of everything gross. He's real close. Friends with my dad, nose on his butt, snuffy ass nose Dan.
You can trick the butt cheeks to think the nose thinks the butt's a face for at least 3 days, and then the nose figures it out, starts snorting, cavorting because you scared the snout.
You touch the nostrils, it's soft.
Yeah.
It's been confirmed, it's a soft nose. My finger touched one side and it plugged a hole.
It's a soft nose.
The finger feels the nose and it's soft. The second time I touched the nose, it was still soft. Wipe my finger on my clothes. You touch the nostrils, soft. It's been confirmed, it's a soft nose. My finger touched one side and it plugged a hole.
It's a soft nose.
The finger feels the nose and it's soft. The second time I touched the nose, it was still soft. Wipe my finger on my clothes. To touch the nostrils, soft. Yeah. The finger feels the nose and it's soft.
Wow. Wow.
What was that, right?
That was so that was
Hell yeah.
sick. But also, I would like to amend my previous statement. Maybe Maddie wasn't being aggressive.
I actually rewound the podcast and listened to that call, and I love him, by the way, and I hope he calls
Okay.
back. And I thought it was awesome. I don't remember why there was 2 ladders. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know why there was 2 ladders.
I love that.
but
That's what
it
he's
was-
hung up
That's
about.
the thing we have to like
well, I'm trying to
clarify.
picture it in my head, like what, 2, why? But yeah, like when he climbed up there and did that, I was like, it's job, and I was like, yes, and we
Can you
all.
confirm that he did have Victoria's Secret pink underwear on?
I can't confirm any of
Okay.
that.
Well,
I
I
was
just want to do some fact
I was
checking.
just
That's
trying
fine.
not to screw up, I
Fair.
was focusing on just doing a good show, but I was totally cool with him being up there doing whatever
Great.
he wanted, and I trust him. So
So
yeah,
so this is like it's crazy how this is working out. So as I understand it in the background of the show, so this happened to be not just like a show that yeah, please call in. um, the show was not just any show. This was like the award show for like the best band in the like Battle of the Bands type of thing, correct?
I guess so. I mean, there's this glass that
Ooh.
has
Is
a
that
little
from
name
it?
for the bands. Yeah, it was
Oh my God.
2006.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it could be from that. But yeah, it's a little blurry. We played a lot of shows, and
Fair.
Okay.
yeah, it could have possibly been an award show.
But and so you do remember at some point that he climbed up on the ladder, and this was something that you thought was awesome and cool.
Yeah, I
Like
was
like
fine with it as long as he was careful and didn't hurt himself. I did not know that Mr. Ruggles was throwing uncooked bacon at him. I didn't know. I had no clue about that, and I didn't know about him rubbing it on himself, and I didn't know about the sunburn effect, and I'm sorry about that, and I don't know why any of that happened, but I also was just like in a different planet, like, performing and stuff.
I
So.
think that maybe something that Maddie could take, responsibility for rubbing it all over his body. I think that's kind of on him a little bit. Maybe.
I'll be honest with you. Once you go through the pass of like, oh my God, raw bacon on my skin, And then I can understand the instinct in a weird way to dive into that feeling and just like, you know what? I'm going to rub it all over my body. I'm
Well, he's
here.
kind of a showsman, and he was, he was doing what he thought that
The Lord's work
would make it better. And I think, he was right about what he chose to do. I just didn't
I
know it
love
had that side effect to it.
Well, we all learned a lesson here today.
Yeah.
To not rub.
Can you rub
Yeah.
anything raw on you? I don't know.
I mean, you
Is
probably
it just bacon or
can, but I don't know how well it's gonna go over. I don't
doesn't
know.
seem
Yeah,
safe?
it doesn't
Raw,
seem like a good idea.
raw loofahs, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Raw loofahs.
Yeah.
You know that I
What's a
grew
cooked loofah like?
I grew loofahs. They're like gourds. My parent, I grew loofahs. My parents grew loofahs when I was a child. You know what? I have like a solid 30 on loofahs, but I won't bore you with it.
I don't know why, but I don't know why, but you just made me think about kombucha and the mother that like makes the kombucha, and how I wish that it was like a little bigger and maybe kind of breathed or something, and had like it
Yeah.
was just a little more exciting, had like one eye or something, just but they don't, of course. It's just like a thing on top making the thing, but I wish that they were more
It is a
creature.
living organism,
Of
right?
course. Yeah, it's the mother of the drink.
Do they breathe?
They don't. I don't think so. I mean, I can't say no for sure, but I've never seen one breathe. I've never seen a hole, like a breathing hole or anything. It's not that
Imagine.
exciting. I went down a wormhole because I was like, I gotta find the craziest, largest mother. There's got to be some huge mother that they keep in a tank somewhere that like has a brain or something, but I couldn't find anything.
Couldn't find it.
No.
Darn. Those songs were amazing. So if I remember, the first one was the clean one that you did off of that album for your daughter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Because
was
it's definitely not the second one.
The second one is not clean. It's funny though, like my dad is totally cool with it. He's been on stage. He's actually gotten on stage with us when we were playing a show.
Really?
We played in Lee Summit at like Jerry's Bait Shack or something, and
That's a
it
great
was
name.
totally packed in there, like packed room, and he was in there and he was up front and he was like, "This is my son," and I was like, "Get up here," and he was like standing there and I was like rapping about him, like, I got 2 dicks like my dad. No, it wasn't the same song, but it's thinks that kind of weird stuff is funny. So that's
Wait, wasn't that in one of the songs? So there's something about
yeah, that was like the
splits.
first part of the
Yeah.
Oh shit! I woke up and my dick split right
Yeah,
in
dick
half.
split. Yeah,
Now
yeah,
I got
that
2
was great.
dicks like
Yeah.
my dad. It's kind of
Yeah.
gross actually. My dick split in half. It's gross.
It's a real like when you walk into a room and if that lyric were on your t-shirt, you're saying something. You're trying to affect the vibe in some way, certainly.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think I would wear a t-shirt that said my dick split. Oh shit! I woke up and my dick split right in half, like my dad. Maybe the whole thing.
Maybe the whole thing. Yeah.
What's the most
I might.
offensive? Okay,
Yeah.
what's the most offensive t-shirt that you've ever seen, and where did you see it?
I'm like drawing a total blank.
Yeah. Do you
I don't
know,
get
Craig? Do you have
offended
an
very often.
answer off the top of your head, Craig?
There was this kid in my high school that on our first day of freshman year, he wore a shirt that said just fist fuck in in big white letters.
Fuck?
Fist
fuck. Oh.
Fist fuck. It was a Marilyn Manson shirt.
Oh,
and I
okay.
was like, that is fucking hardcore. My parents won't even let me wear something with Budweiser on it, which it was in vogue. Like my parents wouldn't let me buy my mother wouldn't buy, and there was a moment in time when it was really cool to have like a I'm trying to think of it like these like naughty shirts, you know what I mean? Like Crab Shack, where you can get your crabs all over your dick or
Yeah.
something.
Oh yeah,
I
sure.
don't, I don't know. It was
That's
probably more
probably
subtle
whatever.
than that.
I
But
saw one on Temu today that was like "No Lives Matter." It's like a Halloween shirt, and I was like thinking
Jesus
about that. I was like,
Christ.
"Oh well, that doesn't seem like that would go over
Yeah.
well in most situations anywhere." So that's
No.
Well,
okay.
I mean, one way of like playing the middle is, I guess, playing against both sides, I suppose.
I
But
guess.
I feel like
yeah.
I'd rather see that than All Lives Matter, but it still doesn't feel great.
None
Yes,
of the
because at least that's nihilistic, you know? You're right. You're right. That's a vibe. I actually would approach like a ghoulish character at a Starbucks that was like crying, you know, and if they were wearing that shirt, I'm all over it.
I think I'm most offended by like one of those the t-shirts with the tribal stuff on them with the guys wear that work out. They have like what's that brand that they all wear those shirts. God, what are they
Oh,
called?
wow.
I know what you're talking about with the like the
do.
giant fucking
It's
crosses and crucifixes on the back. Like it's like
oh, it's just affliction. Yes, that's it.
affliction.
I
Yes.
think that probably somehow
Huh.
like subconsciously offends me a little bit. I don't know why, just because it's like so Nickelback-ly or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay, if it hasn't
I
yeah, if it gives that vibe, I hate it.
But I like now, don't get me wrong, I don't like Creed, but I do really appreciate Scott Staff, and I follow him because he's funny. Like, every night he'd, like, post a picture of himself going like, "Arr," like,
Wait,
"Arr."
really?
He's the best, y'all. When he sings, he sounds like someone making fun of his singing, and I think that's
Yeah,
this is
fun to
true.
listen
I'm
to.
into that. And actually, a very famous like drag performer from New York, who I had the pleasure of working under for a while, is now like kind of this lounge singer. And they used to listen to all of those songs as like vocal tests in the dressing room and sing along with those songs. And I thought it was always so toy and like counter tasteful, but like
But that makes
there's
it, like, delightful and
and
wonderful
in
and,
a
like,
and in a
kind of
way,
counterculture in a way.
yeah, and in a way, they're so uh, they're so into the world that they're into that they don't even see it as pop culture. They just see it as another tool to like, you know, work on their
Mhm.
instrument. So under that guise where you don't see the cultural like thing that Creed was,
Mhm.
I mean, you can't say that that's not a powerful vibrato or whatever that guy's got.
It's something.
It's certainly something.
I'm sorry I made us talk about this. We can talk about something else.
Oh,
Unless Scott Staff is watching this, in which case I want to say keep posting those pictures, man. I
Oh my
love
They
seeing that.
sound funny, yeah, it sounds great.
They are great. You should follow Scott Staff.
I will check it out. I
He
will check it
plays
out.
shows like every night.
As long as we can, all agree that we don't like Nickelback, right?
We don't like them, and we don't actually like Creed either, but we do like
Okay.
Scott Staff.
But, yeah, but also I don't even like what's fucking the
we-
guy from Nickelback is, like, not a Chad Kroeger is
Well,
not a
just
great
watch the
guy either.
Nickelback documentary. They didn't seem like terrible people. They were just a really bland,
I feel
like
like I've heard something I'm from the same,
Really?
province as them, or from the province that I grew up in, so I have, like, some
they're fine.
baggage, you know?
I don't like them. I don't like their
Yeah.
music, but they're
It was really offensive that Nirvana cover that they did. That was Nickelback, right?
No, that was Puddle of Mud. That was
Oh,
Westing and
Oh.
trying to reach those high pitched. Yeah, that was
yeah,
painful. Like,
it was just so.
why? I don't know why
You
he
know,
didn't just change the key or like not do that one. I don't know. I don't know.
it's one of those things that it's so bad, and this is actually saying something if you know me. That it's one of those few things that it's so cringy that I can't even enjoy it. I couldn't watch that twice. I've
I
never watched Schindler's List, and I won't watch that twice.
it hurts my throat when he tries to. He like tries to. It's like it's hurting him, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, but
Um,
Puddle of Mud though,
Puddle of mud. Yeah, yeah. You know what, Maddie? I think that your window to call in and
Oh,
rub it in my face
yeah, and
that
yeah,
I was
yeah.
totally wrong
Mhm.
and
What?
reunite with John here. The window is slowly coming to an end because
Yeah,
John,
Maddie.
we are on our way into our final midnight, which is somewhat of a relief for me because I've got things to do, but also this is like my
Okay.
favorite. This is like my favorite thing in the world to do. I was coming back to it. I was
Okay,
coming back to
okay,
it.
okay.
This is like my favorite thing in the world to
Yeah.
do.
What
And
kind of things are you about to do? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, good question. Like, what do you gotta do? Well, I guess
It's just all I have to do is talk up close. I also think so. It just sounds immediately
oh man, do
weird.
you have ASMR? Yeah, or is that like function of hairs on the back of your neck? Frise, I
like, do
think
you
that
mean,
they
are you
call
like
it
a
in French.
susceptible to ASMR? Does
Yeah,
that mean
yeah,
like
yeah,
ASMR gives you the like?
yeah, yeah. Because I think it's a certain type of people. Like there's a
Yeah,
certain group of people in our
I
population that
definitely
feel
do.
frise, or yeah. Do you, John?
Do you, John?
I like it.
What you
Okay.
just did was, and I love the short answers. What you just did was really give me frise there, and it's weird when it comes out of nowhere for me, and especially when I'm on live TV because it's like, oh god,
Ooh, feels
Ugh.
kind of like intimate.
It does, and it
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
like somebody just tickled me or
yeah.
something, and
And
then I
you're having it
realize I'm
like
in public.
on air in public. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So
Anyway, I
you
wanted.
liked it.
yeah. Do it again.
So you liked it then?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Great.
did. I did. Yeah.
Greg, I hope
See,
you have
my
a
brain
good
is
night.
melting. Wait, John, I love you. I love you, and I love that you were here with us tonight. I have to
Yeah.
let you go,
Okay.
and really, you've really made the show wonderful and weird,
Thank
and
you.
it's great to reconnect with you. And thank you so much for sticking around so long,
It's been an
Mallory.
honor.
Really, really great performances. It was so fun.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, can you pitch any Instagram handles, record store outlets where we could find you and find your music? And
SoundCloud, Inner Horse. Just look for Inner Horse
Inner
anywhere
Horse.
on SoundCloud. There's new songs scattered on there on SoundCloud. All my Minds Undercover albums are on Bandcamp, just under Minds Undercover. A bunch
Okay.
of weird stuff, inappropriate. really, when I was younger, they were really like just inappropriate, super inappropriate. So check
Okay.
that out.
Well, we'll consume that media with that in mind. It's dated material, and we'll try to consider it in its context.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
totally.
John, thank you
Please.
so much, and it's been such a lovely pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
Mm,
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Chris,
Goodbye,
bring it
Craig.
back to me. Yeah, there we are. Well, you know what?
wow.
It's been a really fun night. It's been a fun night. It's been met with surprises, uncertainty.
Hmm.
Something that one of our listeners wrote me and said that we should do more of that I forgot
What?
was that we should take another moment to breathe with everybody.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Because sometimes sometimes people forget to breathe or consciously breathe, and believe me, it feels very weird for me to say this, and it feels like I'm telling a joke. I'm not. It's actually really beneficial. So
Mhm.
before you go out for the rest of your night, or you tuck yourself into sleep, these last moments with us, if you're here, let's all take a breath together. Oh, that was good.
Hmm.
I've never been one to pace myself. I'm going to take another. Thank you. That felt really good.
Oh, that's really nice.
That felt really good.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about the night, Mallory?
Oh, what a night it has been. The Mr. Rosewood Call, I think, was a real standout.
What a great call.
Yeah.
What I really could have talked about a million of them. I
Yeah.
saw the world's forking, and
Yeah. How
anyway,
about you, Craig? What was your favorite part?
being here with you
Oh, that's my answer.
and our little crew here. I love PlayJoe and Brody and Chris and our musical performer John and you and all
Those
of our audience.
performances were so awesome.
I mean, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick and it's pretty off the wall.
Yeah.
I know that another thing that we always like to do.
Pippa.
Oh yeah, and Pippa. Oh my god. I can't believe I forgot Pippa. So Chris, just let me know when we're ready because I do want to show our nightly readings because Chris behind the wheels over there, he puts these great nightly readings together.
Yeah.
And so I would like to close the show with that. Oh, we're ready? Okay, great. So then right before we go, let's check out the nightly readings. Slight technical difficulty. Um, I think that we've lost, some of our audio on the transitions there. So you know what? In lieu of that, we're gonna do a better job next week. I'm sorry to tee that up and then not deliver for you, but weren't those visuals beautiful? And I don't know if you'd notice at home, but everybody that calls in the night before, they get a little place on our screen. With Chris, it's just a fun little thing that he does. Anyways, I don't know how to dismount now. Just that I love you all so much, and I hope
We've
that
got some exciting shows coming up, and
Oh my God! What are we doing next week?
Well, it's my birthday next Saturday, so we're having a bit of an extravaganza for that. Really fun musical guest lined up for that, and then we're gonna be going into spooky season. You're gonna wanna stay tuned for all of that.
Yes, and then after that, we have I can't get into the details right now, but it's confirmed. Immediately, we're going to do a whole wrestling show where we have some wrestlers on. It's going to be a wrestling extravaganza. I'm
Lots of
really
extravaganzas.
yeah, it's going to be so grand. And then into October, we're going to have an esoteric October. So we have some experts in the supernatural, in the esoteric, in the occult that are going to come on. We're going to have some musical guests that are adjacent to that. So So we've got some really fun stuff planned throughout Halloween, every Saturday on this show. We're going to be taking a break at the beginning of October, but that doesn't mean that we're going away. We're coming back and we're closing out October with you, and it's going to be fun. And come back to us.
Come back to us
every Saturday. All right. And let's go to credits. Love y'all.
Love y'all.